Right, we are now live, and I have the amazing Alice with us. She's going to do an hour slot. Straight after her is going to be Liz. So Liz is doing one on smart goal setting. So over to you. How are you, Alice? You okay?
I am. I'm fabulous, David. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm a bit stressed today because of the Facebook blocking me. I don't like that. Don't like being blocked, not let into things. So,
Uh,
but it's all right. We're going to have a successful afternoon. I'm sure of
that's
it
right.
because I've got the girls with me. I've got Alice and I've got Liz. So it's going to be
That
cool.
exactly, exactly. We're good luck.
Yeah, you are. Right. I'm going to hand over to you, Alice. You know what you're doing, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, thank you, David. Bye. Okay. Hi, everyone. Today I am going to I'm going to use some slides to present today. We're going to talk about 5 steps to a winning social media strategy. And I know you all have lots of questions around social media. So what I'll do is I'll use the slides and present some content. I cannot do that and keep track of comments. So I will try to check in with comments, but the slide presentation won't take too long. And then at the very end of that, I will come back and we will go through and answer questions. So I want you to know that I will be here to answer questions. So we'll have that. Okay. So now with that, I am going to share my screen. If I make sure I have the right screen. Actually, do I have the screen? Technology is always fabulous like that, isn't it? Okay, so here we go. This is my slides, and I'm going to do that and this, and I'm going to double check that it's actually sharing the screen that I want it to be sharing, because we know how Facebook can be, don't we?
I can
Facebook,
see
like,
it, Alice.
you
I can see
can.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
fabulous. Thank you so much, David. Okay, great. So 5 steps to a winning social media strategy. Now, this is the 5 steps. This is what we're going to learn about today. The first step 1 is about maximizing the effectiveness of your social media presence. Step 2 is about focusing your energy and saving yourself time. And as a matter of fact, David and I were just having this conversation. So, and step 3 is about creating content that converts. Step 4 is about motivating yourself to implement and post every day. That says post every day, but we're going to talk about a little bit about what that means too. Okay. So don't stress out. I have to post every day. You don't. Step 5 is about the tools to measure your social media success, right? Because we have to know how we're going to see if we're successful. So why social media? Is it really that important? And to anyone who's paying attention right now in today's world, digital businesses really do need to be on social media and have some form of a presence there. And what's less clear about that is really how you're going to actually create a strategy for your digital business or your course business that actually drives the results that you want, right? Social media allows you to communicate directly with your audience, like for free. That is so cool. There's never been a time in history like there is right now, and how much access we actually have to the people that would buy our courses. So it's really one of those things that it's just part of life today, right? Now, there's a key difference between the people who succeed with their social media strategy and the people who fail with their social media strategy. Does anybody want to take a guess at what that is? I bet some of you know it very quickly. And that is planning. Plain and simple. It is not the fun bits, right? That's not the exciting part of being on social media. I love to go on there. My ADHD brain I'm all over the place. I'm like, ooh, let me go do this and let me do that. Oh, this is fun. Like, it is like a kid in a candy shop, social media, for my ADHD brain. Okay. However, if you take that time up front with the planning, then you're going to have much better results. And a few clues that might suggest you need to plan better or have a more clear strategy is that you're posting very sporadically and you don't have any goals for that post. Every single post, every single piece of content that you're sharing on social media, you should have a goal behind that. You should know what you're looking for in response to it, right? You yourself are not feeling inspired by your own content. You're like, I'm posting this, whatever, I got to post something, right? Like if you're not feeling inspired by it, then you probably need a better plan and a strategy. If you're not seeing any financial returns whatsoever, if you're not seeing that traffic from social media over to your Zenler site, over to your courses and people purchasing and signing up for your courses, then you probably need to look at your plan and your strategy. You observe a great drop in your engagement on social media. That means maybe you need to reevaluate what's happening. We should always be paying attention throughout the process and evaluating what's working and what's not, so we can do more of what works, right? And then there's your social media metrics are not exactly painting an accurate picture. So maybe you have great activity on your social media accounts, but it's not translating into traffic to your site and signups for your courses, right? There's a big clue that there's something off there. So those are just a few things that could be happening that would alert you to the fact that you really need a plan or a strategy. Because social media it's just one of those things that most people really start out like loving the idea of it, right? You just love, like me, my ADHD brain, it's like, ooh, social media, let me play, let me do this stuff. And you're excited about it. And then slowly over time, you start to dread it and you start to resent it. And you're like, oh, I got to figure out something to post on social media. If you're not seeing the results, it stops being fun to do. And for me, it's the whole expectation versus reality thing, right? So, the whole middle part thing. I'm a true Gen Xer, side part and all, y'all. So this feels very accurate to me. Like I want to do the center part and look, trendy and fabulous, but the reality is it just feels off to me. And with your social media, it can be the same way. Like you have these expectations that you're going to post some things and you're going to have fun and people are going to love it and you're going to have new followers and people are going to click through to your site and sign up and oh la di da, it's going to be amazing. And then the reality of it is there's a lot more to it than sort of the spray and pray method or the throw some spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. And so it can be very disappointing. And that's where it gets to that, resentment and dreading having to go on social media. A little bit of time and effort up front with the planning process can have a real huge difference and benefit to your business. So many benefits. So step one, let's get into it. Maximizing the effectiveness of your social media presence. This is a really key part in having that success, is making sure that you're maximizing your presence on social media. You have to do that, and it has to be beneficial, right? So the least fun thing is identifying your goals, right? You think social media works like you log in, you check your feed, you post some stuff, you interact with some comments, you watch your engagement go up and everything is fabulous. Well, it doesn't really work that way, at least not for businesses. If you don't have the plan, you're not going to get results from your social media activity. You might grow some followers just by being there, right? But you're not actually going to get closer to achieving your goals, especially if you don't have any goals identified. How are you going to know what you're doing, right? So you don't want to waste your time. You want to develop your strategy and link that to your activities, right? You want to connect it, right? So some goals that you might have, and you're going to want to be more specific than this. And I'm going to give you some examples. So brand awareness or recognition. If one of your goals is to have brand awareness and recognition, you want people to know who you are, and you want people to, when someone says, oh, I just got a new dog and I need a dog trainer for my dog, you want them to think of you instantly because they know all the things about you. They see you everywhere and they understand completely that you are, the most fabulous dog trainer for them and for their pets. And so they think of you. Or a friend of theirs buys a dog and they go, oh, I need a dog trainer. And instantly this person is referring you because you're all over the place, right? Like you want that brand awareness and recognition everywhere. You want people to think of you when it comes to the training or the courses that you provide. So how are you going to track that? Right? How do you know if you've reached the level of brand awareness? What is your goal? Is it a certain number of followers that you have? Is it a certain number of shares that you receive? Is it recognition by maybe a reputable publication within your niche or your industry? Like, what does brand awareness and recognition look like to you specifically? And identify that for yourself. Not just what other people tell you it should be. It has to be something that you want that connects really with you and your business goals. What does that mean? Same thing with generating leads. How many leads do you want to generate, right? How many people do you want on your list every week, every month? Those are things that, as I said, it's going to be important later. How are you going to track it if you don't know the specific numbers, right? And same thing, increase sales. So how much do you want to increase your sales by? And what's that time frame? So if you want to increase sales by $1,000 a month, what are your products and services that you have that you're selling? What are the courses that you have available for people? And what is the price point of those? How many of those do you need to sell in order to reach that goal in that month or in that quarter, right? Do you need to consider changing your pricing structure in order to meet that goal, right? So you have to really look at that thing. Same thing, building a recurring revenue. Do you have a product or service that can meet that can be recurring revenue, like a membership or subscription, very popular these days? Do you have that? And, do people know about it? How much is it? How much recurring revenue do you want to build? Do you want X number of people per month, per quarter, per year to be coming into this program? Then there's all sorts of other things about, retention and things like that for your memberships. But for this is just really the basics. It's just the beginning, but start thinking about those details so that you can work them out, right? Maximize your effectiveness. If you know exactly what you're doing and you have those goals, that translates into every time you create a post or you create content that you're going to share on social media, you're trying to achieve this goal in some way, right? Okay, step 2, focus your energy and save time. Focus, what's the acronym for focus? It's follow one course until successful, right? So you want to focus your energy. And I fully admit that I have struggled with this too. My ADHD brain, I have a million ideas running through it all the time of doing this and doing that. But if you don't focus on something and actually implement it and follow through and track it and see those results, then you're not actually going to be productive, right? You're not going to be able to maximize the effectiveness, which is step one, if you're not able to actually focus your energy, right? You also need to be able to streamline your activities so that you know just what you're going to do and where you can focus to get your results, right? Again, it's the throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks situation, or spray and pray, right? You want to focus on only the things that are being effective. If you're just doing a whole bunch of things, you need to start looking and saying, okay, this thing actually worked and I had more followers from it, or I had more click-throughs to my website from this thing, or I had more signups to my lead magnet from this thing. So I'm going to do more of that thing. And this other thing over here that I was doing, I'm not getting anything out of that. So stop doing that, right? Like you eliminate the things that are not actually driving the results so that you can focus your time and energy on the things that are driving those results, right? So do more of what works, in other words, right? Do more of what works, right? So when you focus, you'll have very specific tasks that you can carry out every day. All of those things which are going to get you closer to the goals that you're trying to achieve, right? It'll be time that's actually well spent, right? Do you ever feel like you're on social media all day and at the end of the day, you're like, what did I accomplish? Like, do I have any leads? Do I have any traffic to my site? Like, I'm not sure what I did today, right? So this way, the time that you spend on social media is actually time well spent, right? So what are you doing that's working, right? Focusing your time there is going to be time well spent. So that's what you have to ask yourself. And at the end, I'm going to give you like a little list of things to do, and some of these bits will be on there too. Okay. So step 3, create content that converts. That sounds easier said than done, doesn't it? So ultimately, what's actually going to determine your success on social media is the content that you post, right? Your content really, it needs to be engaging and interesting, right? And in order for it to be engaging and interesting, it really has to answer questions that your ideal clients have. It could be objections that they have. It could be, or not objections, but you want to think about when it comes to your course, what are the main objections people would have about buying your courses, right? And then think about how can you answer those objections in your content, right? What story can you tell that will answer that objection? Right? If it's a financial objection, which is one of the top ones, money, time, right? Show them how it's going to actually save them time, right? If it's financial, show them how, what the value of that is, what they're going to get out of it, and tell a story around that so that it answers their objection before they even get to the sales page of your course, right? Think about FAQs that you have for your particular business, commonly asked questions. Those are the kind of things that make really great content for you and for your ideal clients, right? You can do research with even your competition. Do they have a Facebook group? Do they have an FAQ page? Start looking at the questions that they're answering and the objections they're overcoming in their content to help give you an idea of things that you can do in your content that will also be successful, right? Step 4, You need to motivate yourself to implement and post every day. One of the best things about having a really solid social media content plan is that you have somewhere to go. You have something to post. It's there, it's ready for you, right? It's very easy to get into a kind of a slump with social media where you're just not sure what to do every day, right? You're not seeing results, your motivation goes down, right? We talked about that a few minutes ago. You start to dread it, right? When you have a really good strategy and a plan in place for every day, you have those tasks, you know what content's working. It's not going to feel like work when you know what you're putting out there is being enjoyed by other people. You'll be motivated then to engage with your people every day, right? You'll want to do it because it'll be fun. Right? So I'm not saying you have to post every day. So one of the things that you could do, it's about being consistent and making that work for you. Maybe showing up every day isn't possible. Is it an hour a day? Is it 5 hours a week? Like, what does that schedule actually look like for you? Because all of us are going to be different. We have different schedules. We have a different amount of workload. We have different families and schedules and all of those things. So what is it that's going to work for you? How many hours a day, a week, a month can you put into showing up consistently with that content that you're creating, with that plan, with that strategy, with those goals in hand? How can you show up consistently, right? And, just create a list for yourself. You can use project management tools like ClickUp or Trello or Asana for that content, but make it fun for yourself. I am in a mastermind, and right now everybody's focused on they were focused on the I'm going to say it correctly, TikToks. They're focused on doing those and some reels, and they're having a lot of fun with it. I've been telling everybody, and they're having fun with it. But the thing is, they already know what those key things are, those objections and those questions that their ideal clients have. So they're using that thing that they already know, and they're throwing it into things like the TikTok videos and Instagram reels and stories. And then yesterday, they threw some into shorts. I've been telling them, please do YouTube shorts. My son has had a YouTube channel for about a hot minute, and he took, and he's created a few YouTube shorts, and he has up to 5K views on one of them. And many of them have over 1,000 views. So the YouTube shorts are really hot right now. And I know I've talked about that before when it comes to social media and the time that you spend there. If you're on a platform, for example, if you're using Facebook, right now, Facebook is really pushing those reels hard, so hard. So if Facebook is your chosen platform, then take advantage of the extra juice that you're going to get from the algorithm, right? Every platform has an algorithm. Take advantage by using the tools that they're saying are hot right now. Do that. Leverage those things, but have fun, right? Make that plan, know what all of those objections and questions, what kind of content you're going to be creating. Is it video based? Is it text based? Is it audio based? What does it look like? But have fun with it, because if you're having fun, that's going to come through to your audience, to your ideal clients, to your communities, that you're having fun, and they'll have fun with it too. It'll be a much more enjoyable experience for everyone involved. Really a much more enjoyable experience. And that's really what it comes down to. If you want to have really great social media that takes people from one place over to your website, then you really want people to have fun and enjoy being with you, enjoy consuming your content. You want them to be like, wow, I just love what they're doing. And then they want to go, kind of stalk you in a nice way, not in a scary way, to consume more of your content. That's what you want to create, that kind of energy, right? And in order to do that, you have to have that plan, and you have to know what I want to say the theme, but what are those key messages that you're going to be sharing in your content, right? What are those key messages so that you can make it fun? If you already know, then you can leverage all of that stuff, and you can make a plan for how often you're going to be here and there, and you can track it with these tools. Like I'm currently obsessed with ClickUp myself. And I know a lot of people also use Trello or Asana for project management, to track your content ideas, to create your schedule of when you're going to post and where you're going to post it, and just make it easier for you. Find a tool that works for you the best and use that tool, right? Because not everybody, like, I'm obsessed with ClickUp, and there's other people that'll probably be like, I tried ClickUp and it was terrible, right? So it's okay. Use the one that makes sense for you. Step 5, the tools to measure your social media success. So this one relates back to the very first one, right? How do you know if you're actually making progress towards those goals from the very beginning if you're not tracking them? So one of the most important advantages of a social media strategy is that you can set up a plan in advance for actually monitoring these results, right? So most social media platforms have their own analytics. So you can track your likes, you can track what percentage your follows went up, your shares, those kind of engagements. You can also, they have tracking links from social media to your website so that you can see how many people are actually clicking through to your site. So there's lots and lots of tools out there to measure that performance, right? So you want to set metrics that you can track, right? So you can see if you're not actually reaching that goal, that it's time to make an adjustment somewhere, right? So there's lots of little signals that you get from those metrics that can tell you things, and you can test different things out and make changes if you know that it's not working, right? There's also tools like Google Analytics, which can help track your activity on your websites. It can tell you where your traffic is coming from, all of those things. But you need to know what those metrics are. And you need to know how you'll know if that's good or not good. Are you having an improvement? Are you making progress? Because that's the goal here with all of these things that we're talking about, is not like perfection. It's just progress. You want to take a step forward with your social media, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, because the only way you get to a place where David and I were talking about this during the YouTube challenge. The only way that you can get to this place where, for example, you're creating these fabulous YouTube videos that have really great production, your on-camera presence is really amazing. You have great intros and outros and transitions and edits in your videos. Everything is great. No one starts out that way. No one. No one starts out that way. You start where you are. It's really, really important, right? Start now. Start now with the skills that you have, the knowledge that you have, and implement that right now, because that implementation will give you the experience and the knowledge you need to improve, right? But you can't improve if you're not taking action. And I know sometimes it can be scary to just start putting stuff out there and be more visible when you're uncertain, but you have to embrace that uncertainty. I do it all the time. Like during the YouTube challenge as well, I shared one of the first, as soon as Facebook came out with live video, I was completely obsessed with it. So this was a few years back now. And like I did a live video and I was sideways the entire time. Like, and I left it up there and I laughed about it, right? I just took it with, a great sense of humor and said, look, if I can do this sideways and leave it there, then you can do it too, right? Like just as as an encouragement of, it's okay. Like it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay for things not to be perfect. It's okay to start now, to start where you're at, right? So start where you are. Start where you are with all of your things to take action towards your goals now. So some of the things that you can take action for right now that we've been talking about is, first of all, in order to create that content that's really going to convert, you need to know who your ideal clients are. You need to know who they are, what questions they have, what are their dreams, what are their goals, right? You need information about your ideal client so that you know that the content you're creating is for them, that it's something they'll enjoy and that answers the questions that they have. Because all of these things may start with you, right? But they're not about you. They're about your ideal clients, right? And it's about either attracting them, getting them to make a decision and take an action, right? And the other thing that you can do right now is do an audit. And there's two different audits I would say you could do right now. The first one is audit your social media. Any of the social media channels that you're using right now, audit them. Grab a notebook and write down some numbers. Open up an Excel spreadsheet if that's your thing and do that. Open up one of your project management tools. How many followers do you have on that channel right now? How much content are you posting? Are you posting a variety of content on that channel? How many likes are you getting? How many comments? What kind of post was it? So video post, text post, graphic post, reel, story. How many of those have you posted in the last month on a particular channel? How many views? How many likes? How many comments? How many shares? Like, start writing down some data on your social media channels and audit that so that you know from this point forward if you've had that growth that you're looking for, right? Because it's progress that we're looking for. And you can also see, okay, these kind of posts haven't been really working right now, but this other kind of thing that I've been doing, that's actually getting a lot more engagement. Now you know where to start focusing some of your attention, right? So do the audit of your social media and then audit yourself, right? Audit your own content and what you already have, because I can tell you, after having been on Al Gore's internet since he invented it, I have a ton of content, and it's around all different kinds of things. And one of the first things that I do in order to save myself that time and that energy is I look back at the content I already have. And it's not just about reusing it or repurposing it, but it could be about, telling a story from that. It could be there's just so many things that you can do with content. Like maybe it was a series of blog posts and you don't really want to use them as a series of blog posts, but maybe now you can put them together and make them an ebook, right? So just ask yourself, how can I make the best use of this content? right? Is it content that my ideal clients want? Is this content that answers their questions? Is it relevant? And how can I best use this content, right? How can I best do that? Schedule. So that goes back to that plan, right? Whether you're using some sort of a tool to do that. Once you have this content, once you have this profile, once you know what content is working on your channels, you want to give yourself a schedule. And again, you're going to get the results based on how much time you have to spend there. Now, that's not to say if you're not spending at least an hour a day on social media, then you're making a huge mistake. No, like just know and set the correct expectation for the amount of time you have to spend on social media. I don't care how many gurus tell you you need to spend this amount of time, you need to be here, you need to do there. No, you need to do what works for you. You have to have a plan and you have to stick to it. And you have to have the right expectations for that plan that you have set for yourself, right? If your schedule is, 5 hours a week, that's not going to have as much results and impact as if your schedule were to be able to be 10 hours a week, right? The more time and energy you're able to invest in that, the more quickly those results will start to appear. So just set your expectations right and start where you are, right? And take that action. And then review. Just as you're posting right now, if you create a post today and you share it on social media, then you want to make sure that you review how that's working for you. Revise the things that need revising, eliminate the things that don't work. Make sure you're tracking the metrics each and every time that you're posting. Make sure that you had a specific intention when you posted that thing so that you know what the result is that you're looking for. Are you looking for likes and comments or shares? Are you looking for people to click through and go to your website? You have to know what you're reviewing it for, right? And stay on top of that. Stay on top of that so that you can catch things before they go too far. Right? Because if you start to feel really frustrated that you're not getting the results that you want, then, your momentum starts to go down. So in order to keep that momentum up, keep track, keep looking and reviewing those things so that you can stay on top of it for yourself. And I'm going to check and see if there's any questions. Coming in, and here, thank you. Now let me see if I can find some questions here. So, I don't want the volume to come through there. So it's very difficult to see on my phone. So let's see. Okay, so I see. Okay, let me do this. Alice? Yes, I'm trying to, and stop share. Okay, there we go. Now I'm back. I was like, let me see if I can find these questions. Yes, questions. Yes, because I can't pull it up on my phone right now for whatever reason, because technology. So questions, David.
Right. So I put some down there to try and jog people into asking some questions. So I put some down there that you might like. So I've got Anita. She said, does scheduling, I think you've answered this before in some other lives that we've done, but she's asking, does scheduling posts work as that's what I used to do when I had groups, I heard Facebook now doesn't like it.
You know, it's one of those things you really have to test it. I will say this, the whole point of social media is to be social and to be present. So if you've scheduled content to go out, then the platform itself knows you're not actually there to engage with people. And that's what they want. They want other people there to engage, but they want you there to engage as well. So the algorithm doesn't tend to favor that. And especially on Facebook, that's not necessarily true for other programs or other platforms. For example, I've been testing out Tailwind for scheduling on Pinterest, and I've gotten pretty decent. Like, I didn't touch Pinterest for like 3 years, y'all. And I started blogging and I created a few graphics to go along with those and link back to the site. And I've actually, I mean, nothing like to really write home about, but like, even though I haven't been active, the first few pins I did through Tailwind scheduled, I actually saw some results from that. Whereas I certainly wouldn't have seen that many views or results from a Facebook scheduled post. That's 1,000,000% true. And if you look at some of name the top 3 social media schedulers out there, and then go to their Facebook page specifically. Go to their Facebook page and scroll through their Facebook business page. Not one of their posts will be tagged with their own service as having been posted from there. They schedule for Instagram, they schedule themselves on Pinterest and all these other places. But if you look at their business pages, anytime you share on Facebook through a scheduling tool, it tags it in a little tag at the top of the post so that you know it was posted through this third party, right? It tags it with that. None of their posts on their Facebook page have those tags because they're not using their own scheduler on Facebook. I wonder why that is.
What about actually using the scheduler in Facebook itself?
Yeah, Facebook, any platform that provides you with a tool, whether it be a schedule or a content planner, whatever that looks like, you will definitely get better results using a native tool than you will a third-party tool. You know, Facebook, if in this case, that's what we're talking about, Facebook put in the time and the energy and the resources to put that feature in there for you. And so they want you to use it. And so if you use their tools and features, you're definitely going to get better results. I'm not sure of the exact results you're going to get compared to if you posted it live, but their native tools are definitely going to give you better than some other third-party tools.
Yeah, and Jim Gardner's, you hadn't covered it yet, and he wrote the post down. I've scheduled recently and worked well. Maybe it's because I'm trying to interact with people like it than stuff. I used Facebook's own scheduler. So yeah, exactly what you said. It's going to give you better results than using a third-party tool, as you said.
Yes. And, and there's a lot of things that have an impact on it. It's not as cut and dry to say scheduling doesn't work, don't do it. It's about testing it out. It depends on your audience. How highly engaged are they? Because no matter what, when you post content on social media, the first thing that any platform does is it's that analogy of when you throw the pebble into the water and you get those ripples come out after it. So what social media platforms do in their algorithm is your content is the stone and you toss that in, and that first ripple, that's the people that are the most active that are connected to you, right? The people that tend to comment the most or like you the most or that you engage with the most, they show it to a couple of those people first. And if those people start to engage with that content, then the algorithm says, oh, people are liking this. Let's go to this next ripple and show it to those people, and so on and so on. So that's why sometimes in my newsfeed, especially on Facebook, and their algorithm is wonky and nobody really knows all the ins and outs of the algorithm. It's a testing game, really. But I'll see posts come up in my newsfeed that are, 5 days old, because people are still commenting and engaging. So Facebook just keeps showing it to more people, right? Whereas I won't see some content that people posted that day because not enough people have engaged with it for Facebook to show it to me, right? So if you have a highly engaged audience and a large audience that's very relevant, and that's important too, a highly engaged, relevant audience to what you do and what you're sharing, and they start to engage right away, even if it's through the scheduled post, you might see more engagement than other people who maybe have less engaged audience, right?
Yeah, and you see that because if people are, if people are replying and they're liking, then it's current. So Facebook's looking at that and going, oh, this is current, this is fresh content. It's going to put it higher. Just like the people that view your web page. If more people are viewing your web page, it's going to go up higher up in the search results. If more people are using your YouTube videos, embedding them in their own site and things because it's quality content, and again, you're going to go higher in the search results. So it's all pretty similar. It's just it does change. And like Alice was saying with the algorithms, no one has got this magic formula to the algorithms of Google, YouTube, Facebook, or any of the social media channels at all. They keep it very, very tightly locked, and they change it a lot, especially Facebook.
Especially Facebook. They will change anything just for whatever reason. Like in Facebook groups, the tab announcements is now called featured. Like they changed the word just to like mess with everybody and keep you on your toes. You're like, hey, check the announcements. And people are going, there are no announcements. Where's announcements? I don't see announcements anywhere. Oh, that's because Facebook changed it and calls it featured now. So yes, they will change anything all the time. They just like to keep people losing their minds, off their tilted,
Yeah, even the menu, it's now shot across to the left-hand side. It's just like, where's that gone? I can't get to any of my bits anymore. It's like they're just unbelievable. And the thing about Facebook, which makes me laugh, I mean, is just they never ask anybody. They just go ahead and do this.
Yeah, they just go ahead and do it. And here's the thing. If anybody's out there saying, there's lots of people out there that do a lot of great work on social media, and they train on it and they do all these things. And the thing is, even with a case study of this and this and this works, it worked for them and their audience. That doesn't always mean that what that person did is going to translate to your audience. There's good indicators, right? There's definitely good indicators, which would mean, yes, it's time to test this out, but it doesn't always translate. So just be aware of that. There's no one right way to use Facebook. There's no one right way to use Instagram or Pinterest or any of these other platforms that are out there. You have to test it out, use some best practices, right? And start implementing those things to see what works best for you. You really have to do that. You have that plan, know what those key messages and that content and those questions are from your audience so that you can provide that in different forms, whether it's Facebook posts or reels or videos or YouTube or Pinterest for the blog, but just know what the things are and have that plan so that you can be effective and make the best use of your time while you're on social media. Because otherwise, I mean, I've wasted so many hours of my life with no results because, in the early days, I was just like, oh, let's do this, no goal, no plan, just like, oh, this is fun, and you get sucked into it. Don't do that.
All right, I've got some questions here. Just wanted to sort of roll them past you. Okay. So when you were covering in the initial parts, you were covering like goal setting and things like that. So what should you have a goal number in mind? Like, for instance, like month 1, 200 leads, Or should you be more conservative with it as well? I mean, how do you know what you're trying? I mean, I can say like this month, I want 1 million new subscribers. Not going to happen.
Mm.
It's over. That's just pushing it too far. So how do you set those goals? What sort of numbers should you be looking at? And should you be looking at the market for those goal numbers? Like it might be a really saturated market, so you might not pull as many from it as you would want. And maybe if it's a very specialized subject, you might pull those numbers in quite quickly because it's really wanted. So how do you work out a kind of number that you should be aiming at as a goal?
Well, it definitely has to be realistic and relevant, right? There's a lot of different sort of goal strategies out there. SMART goals is one of them, right? So it really breaks down the different aspects of a goal, the different components that it should, oh my gosh, if I have to remember what SMART stands for, specific, measurable, something with the A, relative, relevant, trackable, something, so it tells you specifically. So, each of those numbers are going to be variable to you, and it's going to be relative. So you have to think about it. If you only have an hour a week to spend on social media, setting a goal of having a million new followers is going to be really tough unless you have a huge amount of money to spend to acquire those followers. And I don't ever recommend that anyway, spending money to acquire followers. Because chances are they're not going to be relevant and it'll be money wasted anyway. So it has to make sense to how much time that you have to spend doing that activity to reach that goal, right? So it has to make sense. And so, it's one of those things you have to test it out too. If you're consistent, right? You set the goal. I want 200 new followers this month or this quarter, right? And if that's your goal, then you plan out how you're going to do that, what content you're going to share, where you're going to share it. You're going to follow up and engage with people. Most platforms have, like Facebook pages have an invite button. So when you connect with people or they like or comment on your content, you can invite them to like your page, right? So that they're relevant. The people that you're inviting are relevant to the topic. You don't want just, here, everybody, here's my business page, go like it so I can get my likes up, because those people aren't necessarily going to be relevant to the content you're putting there, right? So, and then just track it every day and see. And if you didn't reach your goal, it's okay. Like, not reaching your goal is not a failure because you made progress. And now you can see, okay, which thing, at the end of the month or the quarter, you'll say, okay, how many new followers did I get? I got 100. My goal was 200. So I was off. Now, why was I off? Was it because it was unrealistic to do that in that amount of time with the amount of time I had to spend on there? And then, okay, which of these content and which of these things did I do that got me the most of those 100 followers? Now, let me do more of that and see if I can get it to that 200 now. And I'll do less of these other things that didn't seem to get me the results, right? It's a process, right? And it's step after step after step. So definitely just start where you are, start with what makes sense, what feels good to you. I always say you want to push the boundary a little bit. If you're like, okay, 100 new followers, increase that, double it to 200, make it a little scary so that you're always reaching and you're always striving for a little bit more. Just, you don't have to go way outside your comfort zone, but if you push the edge of it with what you're doing, that's where growth happens, is like at the edge of that comfort zone. Not much growth happens when you're nice and cozy wrapped up in it,
I think with that, you're spot on, you're spot on with that. And what I like to say, especially new people that are just setting up maybe a social channel or just starting their site, is use that first month or 2 months or even 3 months or 6 months as benchmarking. So it's exactly what Alice said. You set a target. So I set a target for 200. I only get 50 people new in there. Well, I'm not going to get upset with myself because it's 50 people I wouldn't have had before I started this.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a benchmark now. So next month I can say, right, I'm going to go for 70. So you can build up and you can build those benchmarks up. And very soon you'll be hitting the 200, doing exactly what Alice said, and actually seeing where that traffic's coming from, seeing if that content, switch it up as well. You can play with it. You don't have to follow the same format that you're using. You want to be playing around. So almost doing a live version of split testing. So you're going to put one post up and another post that's slightly different, maybe more cartoony, more maybe light-hearted, a bit funnier. See the traction you're getting on those posts. And then that way, that can guide you as well. So I think at the beginning is a great time because it's like an adventure. It's like you've got like a big pot, a big bowl of candy in front of you. You can play around with lots of different things before you set your own kind of style. And I think it's a really exciting time. When you get things, sometimes when you're making, you've got to hit that goal every month and you've got to be getting those people. You can put too much pressure on yourself and you say, well, I'm not going to move from that style because that works for me. And those are the people that eventually they fail because they're not adapting and trying new things out as they move forwards. That's what I think.
Yes. Diversifying what you do, where you do it, and how you do it is a really key factor in sustainability, right? Because you don't just want to create, if you go all in on just one thing and you don't do anything else, then you open yourself up to that thing going away, right? Or that thing not working anymore. Because the social media platforms, everybody's always looking for the latest, greatest, what's the new feature, what works better, what, everybody's always doing that. And the social media platforms and their algorithms are doing that too. So if you get yourself stuck and invested in just this one thing and you get tunnel vision on it and you're not diversifying what you're doing, then that can definitely happen. And that's different from do more of what works, right? If you find this one thing is working right now, it's all about sort of your mindset. Ooh, this thing is working. Let me leverage the heck out of it while it's working. I'm still going to do a little of this and a little of that over here, but this is the thing that's working right now. And when you're diversifying and you're doing a little of this and that in other places, as soon as this thing starts to drop down in its effectiveness, you'll see something else that you're doing starts to pick up in effectiveness. And that's when you start, okay, let me go over here and do more of this because that's what's working better now, right? So that's why you diversify what you're doing so that you don't end up with tunnel vision. And then, you're in this tunnel vision and then, the storm comes in from the side and just wipes you out.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect explanation there. Right, I've got one more question for you because I know Liz is going to chomp in at the bit to come on. I got one more question. So when should I stop marketing one course before moving on?
When should you start marketing one course?
When should I stop? So I've got something, I've launched a marketing campaign. It's all running well, but I want to start a new project. So when should I stop that and move on with a new project? Or should I just carry on marketing and work on the new project as well? Should I slow down the marketing section and move on to that? Or
well, it depends. I mean, if you're marketing for the thing that you've got right now is working and people are coming into your world and to your community or list or whatever, if it's relevant to the other thing, right? If it's connected, if there's a relevancy, then don't stop unless you're going to stop selling that thing altogether. But you can start to incorporate bits of what the new thing that's coming, and you can start making hits and you can start marketing for that and build up excitement and anticipation for the new thing to come. even while you're marketing the other thing. How can you connect the two if they're connectable? If they're not connectable, start hinting, if you have a goal of when you want to launch this other thing, you have to start building the audience for that thing now and building the anticipation for it, and get people on a waiting list. You can pre-sell that thing as well, and be like, buy it now at this pre-sale price. It goes live in April, so get it now, because once it's live, the price goes up, right? Like, so there's things that you can do to transition. It just depends on how and why you're doing that, right? Like, is it because you're changing your focus? Is it related? I hope that makes sense. But you don't have to stop if you want to continue to sell the other thing. You can just incorporate that other piece into it and build anticipation.
Yeah, no, perfect. So you can sort of link it up, and if it's relatable, you can use that first thing as the springboard to take you straight into the second thing that you've got. If it's not, then you can, like you said, you can hint at it and use that for more social media posts to build excitement before you've launched it. So it's not a case of just stopping and then carrying on. It's a case of like intermingling and balancing.
And there's lots of people that have marketing campaigns that are about a variety of things. People have a variety of products and services, and they're marketing all of them at the same time, just in different ways, so you can market more than one thing at a time, in other words.
Perfect.
To the same audience, but just make sure it's relevant. That's the most important bit, that it's relevant to that same audience. And with that, I'm very excited to hear what Liz has to say, because I know she's going to be talking about something very closely related to the social media strategy and the setting goals piece. So I think that this piece is going to help you with the other piece. So I think there's some synchronicity happening here, Liz.
Awesome. Yes, I didn't catch the whole of your session, but I did notice that you were speaking about like the SMART goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I couldn't remember what all the things were, but there's a whole bunch of different kinds too. There's SMART and there's different ones. So I always recommend people just kind of find what works best for their brain and sort of go with it and implement it, because if it could be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but if it doesn't work for you, then what good is it, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And I realized, because when I was speaking about the session, I'd said to David, I'll do SMART goals. And then I went, oh, do you know what? There's more than just that. So whilst that's like a really smart starting point, mm-hmm. There's a lot of other sort of principles for success with your goals. So I'm going to touch on some of those too, and just helping you all get really awesome outcomes achieved.
Yay. Right. Okay. Well, thank you, David.
Thank you, Alice.
Thank you,
Liz. So much.
I will be peeking in to hear all about all of the goals and things that Liz is talking about. Have a fabulous day. And just know I'll be checking the chat if there's any other questions. I'll be popping in for that as well. And with that, bye for now, y'all.
Cheers, Alice. Right, I'm going to hand over really quickly to Liz. How are you today? You good?
Yeah, really good. Been so busy. So, yeah.
Oh,
it's going to be fun. So, yes, exactly. We're matching. Woo! It's the sunshine, all that extra energy.
It's great, isn't it? The UK is so nice. Good. All right, I'm going to hand over to you and let you do your presentation. I'll pop in at the end. Maybe I can help facilitate the questions when they come in as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome, because I had to turn my Facebook off. Otherwise, my computer buffers.
Right. See you later.
Thank you. See you later. Okay. Hello, wonderful, wonderful people. Okay, so what I'm going to be sharing with you is, as Alice and David mentioned, about the SMART goals, but I'm also going to be expanding them out and looking at other areas as well. So I'm just going to pop Facebook onto my phone so that I can see if you have any questions as I go along. Okay, so for the SMART goals, just running through them, you've got the S is specific, you've got the M as measurable, you've got the A as attainable, the R as relevant, and then T as time-based. But there are so many variations around that. So the main thing to focus on is to, when you're doing any kind of goals, just have it be super, super specific. Because when it is specific, you know exactly what your expectations are. And it's the same as when, you know, you're creating your course and you want your audience to understand what it is that you're actually going to be providing them. That specificity is so super important. Okay. Awesome. And then when you're looking at measurable, it's making sure that whatever goal you're working with, you can actually be kind of tracking it. It's something that you can keep your eyes on so that you know if you are managing to achieve it. And if not, then that gives you a great space to rejig it. You know, as Alice was just saying, you can focus on the bits that are working, but you're not going to know what's working if it isn't a measurable thing. So if it is, for example, increasing your audience, we'll say on Facebook, then that can be a really easy thing to measure because you know how many people you've got in your audience right now. And it's then really easy to see as that's increasing as you're working through your different promotional things, your different like audience outreach. So specific, you'd know exactly what your goal is. So for example, again, with the Facebook audience, say you wanted to increase it by 100 people, that's really, really specific. It's easy to measure when you've achieved that new 100 people. And you also get to make sure that it is an attainable goal. So it's something that you can actually reach. It's not saying, right, do you know what? I want to build my audience today, and I'm going to increase it by 10,000 people by next week. It just isn't very realistic, even if you had a massive budget. So when you're considering your goals, just making sure that it's something that is realistic, that you are going to be able to achieve within whatever time frame you have. And that's going to be awesome. And again, to make sure that your goal is relevant. So it absolutely gets to be relevant to your business, because that's the whole point. You know, it's why we're all here, is to be building up our business, to be building up your revenue, your audience, your, I was going to say your income is the same as revenue. But yeah, so it's just making sure that it's relevant to the bigger goals that you have within your business. And then time-based, so that you've got, say you want your new 100 people and they're specifically targeted people because they're relevant to whatever new course you're about to, provide, whatever you're about to release. And then you put your time constraint on it. And again, when you're looking at the time constraint that you want for that goal, is to make sure that that's going to work with you. So as Alice was mentioning, when you do have a new course coming up, you can then kind of back plan it. So you backtrack and you think, right, well, for that new course, I want to have an extra audience of however many people that is. So if we stick with the 100 people, and then you know that by promoting your course to 100 people, you know you're going to get X number of conversions, because you know that from history. And if you're just starting out, then you're experimenting, and you're going to start to build up your own statistics so that you know in time how many new people in your audience you want to have before you're launching your next program. And by making your goals really specific, really measurable, it means that you can track the success and you can really be watching your statistics really easily, because everything's really simple to be measuring. Okay, so for example, with that 100 new people in your audience, you may want to have, say, like a 3, possibly a 6-month time to build that up, whatever works for you. And it also is going to depend on if you're paying to increase that audience or if you're doing it free organically. And each different way that you're going to be building up that audience is going to require like a different length of time. And again, if you're just starting out, that's perfect because you're going to be starting to build up your statistics. Okay, so some other areas I wanted to touch on with the goals is to be, when you're being specific, just to really get to grips with what it is that you want your outcome to be. So for example, if it's that you want that extra 100 people of your audience from Facebook, what is it that you want to then achieve with that 100 people? And it may be, for example, that you want to get 10 people signed up into your next program. And the more specific that you get to be, the easier it is to be successful. Because the more specific you are, the more you can tailor what you're doing to what results you're seeing as you go. But also the more that you can actually have your unconscious mind working to support you with whatever that goal is. And the great thing about your unconscious mind is that it's running your body. It's doing like 95% of everything that you're doing in any moment. And when we give it really, really clear, specific goals, it has something really clear and specific that it can start working for in the background for you. And what that will do is it will begin to open you up to opportunities that you may not have noticed before. So what often happens if you set an intention, for example, I set an intention that I wanted to do some more speaking positions. And that same day, I had 3 different offers come through for speaking positions. So I was able to take them up. And just by sometimes setting that intention, it then brings your natural awareness to what that goal is that you want. And you then start to notice all of these different opportunities that are turning up around you to support you with that goal, with that intention. So when you're really specific, also make sure that you are keeping a watch out for people around you that firstly are offering help anyway, because you've set that intention out there and then things seem to just flow from it. It's like like a natural way of things to be. And then secondly, have a look around you at the people that you know, at your contacts already, because people love to help you. So when you get really, really specific on a goal or a vision or a mission, anything like that, it enables you to be able to turn around and really ask the people around you for support. I appreciate that that can be scary to be asking for that support. But as a natural thing, people do love to support you. So definitely reach out. And the more specific you are with what it is that you want for your goal, for that bigger mission and vision that you're heading towards with that goal, the easier it's going to be for you to reach out to your colleagues, to people within this awesome community and say, look, do you know what? I'm putting this together and I would love some help on X, Y, or Z. And again, the more specific that you can be when you're asking for help, the easier it is for you to give people the opportunity to actually say, yeah, do you know what? I'd love to. Okay, the next top tip when we're looking at goals is to make sure that you're taking action every single day. And it can be a tiny, tiny step that you're taking. But when you are doing a tiny step towards that goal every single day, then the momentum really builds up quickly. And what's beautiful about that momentum is that it's going to help you move forward quickly and without you having to do a huge amount of extra work all the time. So when you have that goal, for example, I'm going to stick with that 100 extra people as audience on Facebook, then if you're doing a tiny action every day to help increase your audience outreach, it's going to really start to stack up fast. And what you find is as you're doing whatever that action is, so it may be that you're posting and you're supporting in someone else's Facebook group. It may be that you're doing some promotional things. It may be that you're doing some blogging. Could be after the YouTube challenge that you're doing some work on YouTube. And whatever it is, just a tiny thing each day. And that does not mean you don't have to post every day unless that's already part of your routine and that's how you're working. And if it is, that's awesome. But don't put the pressure on yourself to do something huge every day. It could be small. So for example, if you're posting, say, 3 times over the week, on one of the days, it could be to select the subject that you're going to be speaking about. If you haven't already planned, the whole month's content or the week's content. Or that could be one of the small steps, is to have a small time on one day to actually put together your plan for that week's content. Or if you've got like an hour or so, it could be planning the content for the whole month. And you see that by taking these tiny steps, when you're doing that each and every day, it's going to be building up on itself. And then it goes into like a snowball effect. And at that point, it's beautiful because all of those little bits of work that you've been doing are starting to move themselves on their own. And you get to see those amazing results. So action every single day. And it's specific. It's targeted towards that big goal. And absolutely reach out for support within the community. And you can look it up elsewhere, but as you're breaking those bigger goals down into the simple small steps, if it's not something that you've done before, and also you can catch up with me in a Zen zone, and I'm more than happy to go through supporting you in breaking your own goals down into those little step-by-steps. The next thing to do when you're looking at your goals and you're looking at your planning is to really be aware of what's happening. So if you're posting, for example, you're doing 3 posts a week and you're perhaps going into another Facebook group, doing some sort of supportive outreach within there, then look and see how that's tracking. And if you give that a few weeks, you perhaps give it a month and just see how that's working for you. Is that giving you the returns? Are you starting to see the increases in that Facebook audience that you want or not? And if you're not, you get to go back and review the goal. You get to review what your little steps are. And it may be that you get to do a little bit more, or it may be that you get to do something just a little bit different. So it's really being aware of what your results are in that moment, just having that kind of that sensory acuity to know if you are on the right track. Is what you're doing working, or do you get to tweak it a bit? Sorry, I was on mute. So as I was just saying, if you've got any questions, then please do pop them into the chat. And when you are dealing with your goals and you're looking at your results, seeing how they're going along, be flexible. And if something isn't working, totally reach out for support and say, look, especially within this community, it's awesome. just say, this is what I'm doing. This is my goal. This is where I'm trying to get to. And it just isn't quite working for me right now. Does anyone have a suggestion of something that you could just slightly change, slightly tweak? And on the flip side of that, it's also worth being patient to see how things work. Because like an audience build, something like that, it is going to take time. And that comes back to that really being clear with your time constraints at the beginning, and really make sure that when you're setting your goal, you're setting a realistic time frame for whatever developments that you would like to be making with your goals. And if anyone has like a goal that they're working on at the moment, then feel free to pop it into the chat, and towards the end of the session we can have a look and see if we can support you to making it like a really smart goal, one that's going to be far easier for you to achieve because you've got all of those specific details in there. Okay, and the other thing is to just remember that you can absolutely do it. So no matter what it is that you want to achieve, there will be a way to achieve it. And the clearer you are on what that goal is that you want, so for example, that 100 extra people in your audience by the end of, let's say June. So by the end of June, you want that extra 100 people, or perhaps for you, maybe it's an extra 1,000 people in there. And whatever sounds reasonable to you right now, that's what you're going for, and that's perfect. And a good way to check on if it is like sounding reasonable to yourself is just to take a moment and just be quiet, close your eyes, and just ask yourself, what is it that you want? And the clearer that you are with that answer, the easier it's going to be to create your goal to achieve it. And if you take those moments just to check in with yourself and just see where it is that you're going, what those goals are that you want to achieve, the more often that you do that, the quicker those answers are going to come, because you're just building that connection with yourself and with what it is that you're actually striving towards, what it is that you really want to achieve. Okay. The other thing to consider when you're doing your own goals is to make sure that if it's a goal specific to you, the goal that you're creating is specific to you. It's something that is within your control. Because it's very easy to set up a goal. And for example, you know, like in a relationship, in a partnership, it's very easy to say, we're going to do this. But you may not have the buy-in of the other person that you're expecting to pick up and do part of that work with you. So for a really smart goal, make sure that it is just for you. And if it is a team goal, if it is a project goal where other people are working with you, create your smart goal for you first. And then you get to go and share it with the other people, and you get to get their feedback within it and really support them to be able to be part of that new goal. Sorry about my coughing. It's a bit drier in here now because it's so lovely and warm, but it does mean that my cough has got a little bit worse. Okay, but yeah, so when you're creating a goal and it's with other people, absolutely get your side of that goal done first, and then you can open it up and you can have other people involved, and you can then have obviously a team goal that you're working towards, and they can have their own individual goals. And again, it's making sure that that goal for them is specific, it's measurable, it's something that is attainable. You could also say achievable. So something that they feel that they can do. And it also gets to be relevant to whatever their wishes are, you know, to whatever it is that they want to be achieving. So that's where, if it's a joint goal and you have a vision, you've got like a really good idea of how you want it to go, you really get to get their buy-in on your opinion, on your vision. And again, a great way to do that is to be really, really specific, because the more specific you are when you're communicating with anyone, the easier it is for them to be with you, to be working with you, and to be supporting you. And when you're looking at what you want, it's really awesome to be able to state it in the positive. So take what you want, and it may be that you're starting with what you don't want. So it may be that you don't want as many people to not renew at the end of like a membership. So it may be that you want to improve the retention. So from that, you would want to be stating in your goal that I will improve the retention and I will improve it by, say, 50% by the end of this year, or by the end of the quarter. And again, it's being really, really specific and stating it in the positive, because when you're doing that, it's going to be, firstly, easier for you to achieve because you're going to be more motivated, because you're moving towards something that you want. And it's also, again, it can be much easier to get other people to support you with it. And goals just work like better if they are positive. Again, the whole way that our unconscious mind works is with that positivity. So unconsciously, we don't actually process don't or not very well. You know, and a great example of that is like a little kid, and you stood by the end of the road and you say, don't run over the road, and just watch them run over that road. And our unconscious mind is working in the same way. So absolutely state things positively. And it's going to support you with that optimistic outlook, and that's going to support you in achieving your goals as well. And absolutely be really clear when you're looking at where you are right now. So your present foundation, your present situation, you get to have a really good stock take of that before you are setting the goals, so that you know exactly where your starting line is. And from there, you can be moving on really easily. And consider, how's it going to be when you've actually achieved that outcome? And go through, you know, everything within that. So really break it down, and you get to consider what you're going to see, what you're going to hear, what you're going to feel, and just go through all of those areas so that you have a really clear vision of what it's going to look like when you have actually achieved that goal. And again, that's going to support you, and that gives you something that you can be focusing on whilst you're fulfilling each of those little tiny steps. And as you are completing each of those steps along the way to achieving your goal, make sure you celebrate, because it's really easy to just go, oh, yes, I just did that tiny thing. But when you are setting out your goals and you're then setting out those little steps that you're going to be doing daily as you're taking that small daily action, make sure that you celebrate each thing that you achieve from that little step by step up to your goal. Because as you're celebrating each of those tiny achievements, again, that's going to be really building up your motivation, and it's going to be adding to that momentum. So you're going to find it easier each and every day to do that next little step, because you're going to be more excited. And that, again, is something that it's the way that unconscious mind works. It likes to be congratulated. And the things that we do that feel good, you know, you get that little dopamine rush. Those are the things that we're going to naturally want to complete and repeat and keep doing. So the more that you celebrate each of those tiny wins along the way for that goal, the easier that next step is going to be to take. And the more energy you're going to be putting into it. And how are you going to know when you have it? When you finally have got to the end of that goal and you've achieved that goal, how are you going to know that you've achieved it? And that's going back to that, making it really specific and making it measurable and making it within that time limit, making sure that it's relevant to your bigger goals, and just really paying attention. And when you do hit those massive goals, that's cause for a huge celebration. And again, if you're finding that it's not going the way that you'd like it to, reach out for support. I'm going to keep saying that. Support, 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 because people love to help and we all want you to win. Everybody here wants you to do well with your goals, with your courses. Okay, so I don't see any Facebook comments at the moment. Awesome. Okay. So the next thing to do is when you're looking at creating your goals is to make sure that it is congruent to everything else around you within your life. So it's making sure that it's going to fit within what you're doing. And that, again, it comes into the realisticness of those goals, if it really is attainable and it is achievable. Because if you're looking for something which is really, really huge, so for example, no, thank you. If you're looking to achieve, say, an extra sort of 1,000 Facebook people in there, then that could take a huge amount of time. So you get to make sure that the goals that you have are actually within, sort of your whole life thing that you have going on, that it's not going to take too much of your time in just doing this one part of your goal against the rest of your business, against your family life as well. So make sure that it fits within your whole life. When you're setting your goals, just make sure that it's fitting within family, within any extra hobbies you've got going on, within your time, within your finances. So just have a really good look, like a whole holistic view of everything, and make sure that the goals that you are setting up for yourself are not going to spread too much into the other areas, because you get to achieve what you want, but you get to do it without anything else falling by the wayside. And a big thing there actually that I've noticed is your self-care. So it's to make sure that when you are working towards these goals, that you do have enough time in there for yourself to be sleeping and to really be taking care of you as well. So that's the other side of the SMART goal, because whilst a goal may be super smart, if you're not in a good condition to be heading for it, to be completing those little sections, it's not going to be able to work, because you're really important. And obviously when it's your goal, you are essential. So within that, definitely make sure that you are taking care of you as well. It's also about considering, when you're looking at your goals, what the resources are that you're going to need to achieve that goal. And out of those resources, it can easily be looking out to other people for support. And when you're considering what you're going to need to achieve your goals, it's thinking about, have you ever done anything like that before? And it's a really good question to ask yourself when you're setting that up. Because if you have, then again, like I said, you may have some statistics before which are going to help you get really specific with the detail of this goal and with the detail of the outcome. And if you haven't done it before, that's an ideal moment to reach out for support to other people that have done it and are doing it really well. So when you're looking for that support, go and find someone who's doing amazingly at it. You know, they're like top of their game within that, and it's going really successfully, and they will love to help you. And again, if the first person doesn't, then keep reaching out and you will find people that want to support you. The other thing to do is consider what's going to happen when you do have it. And again, these are just those couple of questions that are going to give you that big motivation so that you can keep heading towards that goal. So what will happen if you get it, if you achieve it? What won't happen if you get it, achieve it? What will happen if you don't get it, achieve it? And what won't happen if you don't get it or achieve it? And those 4 questions, again, are just really going to help you consider how much energy you're going to be putting into it. It really gets you to focus on what's important for you with that goal. What exactly is it that you're wanting to achieve? And it just gets you super, super focused into the details. And another 2 questions to add on to that. For what purpose do you want it? And what will you gain or lose if you have it? So these are some of the top questions just to keep you really super focused in. Another thing to consider when you're creating your goal is, does it increase choice? Because one of the big things that you want to be doing when you're moving forwards in any project, in any course creation, in anything, is to make sure that each step you're taking is increasing choice for someone, somewhere. So within the courses, when you're developing a course, then goals within that course are going to be increasing choices for everybody that is taking that course, because you're giving them new skills, you're giving them new knowledge, you're giving them new expertise, you're giving them more practice, and you're increasing that choice. And it's, again, when you're creating the goals for yourself, make sure that somewhere along the line, it is increasing the choice for you. So it could be increasing the choice. For example, if we go back to that audience building, it's increasing the choice of people that you get to go market your course to. And again, it's another way of just looking at it and making sure that your goal is positive. It's working towards building something. It's adding something in for you somewhere. And when you're looking at your goals, make sure that you've got them recorded somewhere. So when you're creating a goal, it may be that you love to have it written out. It may be that it's something you want to just have like recorded down in a voice note. It may be that you're really artistic and you want to, draw something visual to really help you know what that goal is. But the more specific that you can be when you're considering what that goal is, and the more details that you can put into it, and the greater the vision you can create for yourself, the easier it's going to be for you to keep track on it as you're going along and working through your plans, working through those tiny small steps. And the easier it's then going to be when you get to the end of it and you're looking back and you're reviewing it, you can see how each of those little steps has worked towards your big goal, because you've kept the goal really clear and concise, super smart, super achievable, completely relevant to you and your business, and within a really easy time frame for yourself. So you can really keep a good track on it. I'm just going to check and see if there's any comments or anything. Okay, no, so I can't see anything in there, but that's no problem. So if you have any comments about goal setting, if you've got any questions, then please leave them in the chat and I can get back to them at any time for you. Okay. Just see if. So it's just going back to that, like that general overview, just make it specific, make it measurable, make it something that you can actually achieve, keep it relevant to you and your business, make sure it works ecologically with all of those around you, and make sure that you have those specific time restraints around it so that you can really, really be tracking it and change any bits that come up for you as they do.
Fabulous, Liz. Really good. So that's really important as well. I think, you know, it's sometimes, I think you probably know about this as well, Liz. It's like sometimes it can be a bit overwhelmed because it's like people have got like, especially if they're coming new into being course creators, they're like, well, okay, I've got this platform. This platform's supposed to do it all. But I've got to put my course together. And, you know, I haven't got the money to pay for someone to do that or to do the marketing for me. And like, you'll just be like, well, maybe I'll do it next week. Maybe I'll do it the week after. You might even have your whole course prepared. You might have written out a book and you've got all that content that you're just going to basically turn into slides to put into a course to monetize. And you might have all that done already. You might have loads of testimonials because you've been teaching live for 20 years. But when it comes down to it and you see all this tech stuff behind, you think, oh, I can't do this. I don't know where to start. I'm not a web designer. You know, it's the usual one. I'm not a web designer. But we have so many people on the platform that have had zero experience of creating websites themselves. And they've done brilliant jobs. In some cases, a lot of them are better than website designers do themselves using the platform. So it's kind of like, as you know, Liz was saying, don't overwhelm, don't get into this thing where you're scared of this stuff. It's all really easy. You just got to have the mindset with one step at a time, one goal at a time. And that brings me perfectly on to the Zen Zone sessions. So as you probably know, Liz looks after the Zen Zone sessions. So she's controlling it all. So Liz is on, as well as Mummy, as well as Alice. You know, Kevin's been on there. I'm probably going to come on there at some stage as well. And Liz is running it all, and it is the perfect place to go. I was talking about this earlier in session 1, Liz, where I was mentioning that now could not be a better time to jump into a Zen Zone session because we haven't got many people in there. So nobody knows about it. We've launched it. We've said about it a lot, but people haven't gone in there and tried it out. And the whole point of Zen Zone is one goal, one result. You know, you'll go in there with something that you want to achieve. Maybe it's to build your homepage. And you can go in there and you can ask, like Liz, if you're taking her session, or Alice or Mamie, you can say, like, I'm stuck. How do I do this? How do I do that? She'll point you to a video that will help you. At the end of that Zen Zone session, you will have achieved that goal. If you haven't achieved it and you're like, well, I'm taking my time on it and I want to perfect this bit, that's a new goal. Come into another Zen Zone session, and then again, you know, Liz can help you out with setting that up until you've achieved that goal. Then go on to the next thing, and they're there to, you know, we are there to facilitate you. So we're there. There's lots of people in there, so you can have chats among yourselves. You might form connections with people. And I was saying to Mamie earlier, and this is how I look at Zen Zone sessions. It's like you might choose your own Zenler instructor. So say someone chooses you. So I'm referring to you as Dr. Liz, okay, because they're Zen Zone clinics, you know, and you want your teacher, your teacher knows all about you, you know, doctor knows all about you and your problems. So they're with you. So you might choose to just lock in sessions with Liz because she knows you and she's your Zen Zone clinician, as it were. So I really like that kind of way of thinking. You know? You're like a doctor of the Zen Zone session.
Yeah, it works for me. It fits with all my other stuff, you know, that I do outside of Zenler as well. So yeah, I love it.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's you know, as we know, Liz is a really good motivator as well. So she'll get you going, that's for sure, you know. So she'll get you on that road to success. And that is the beauty of these Zen zones. So we talked about it a few times in this day with Zenler. And the only reason that we're talking about this so much is we know that this stage, this is the perfect time to jump in there. If you've stuck with a problem, you need one goal solving, you can get to it. We've had people in the group already that have been on there. I know Jim's in there. Jim Gardner is one of our winners from the YouTube challenge, and he is all over the place at the moment. You'll see him everywhere. He's part of Investor Jim. He does investment banking, and he went in to finish a YouTube video. So he was in there with one of you. I'm not sure who. I think it was with you, Liz. Yeah. And he achieved the goal at the end of it. And a lot of people are doing that. They're achieving their goals. So Liz, it's going really well, isn't it? You're getting a lot more connections with people in there. Things are going on with it.
Yeah, it's going really well. And, you know, like you mentioned, you know, obviously with Jim, he's come in, he's done your YouTube challenge, your awesome YouTube challenge. He's then jumped into the Zen Zone to get, you know, his homework done, to get everything moving along. You know, and he's been in quite a few. So there've been, you know, a couple of people that have shown up and they're sort of becoming regulars because it is brilliant for that accountability. And like you said, for achieving those goals, you can have your one goal for that 1 hour session, and come the end of that session, you've achieved it. And if not, yeah, that's your next goal for your next session. So it's really been motivating, I think. And I've had awesome feedback from the people within those groups. It's been really excellent. You know, they've really, really enjoyed it. So absolutely, if there's something that you're working on, something you just want that little bit of moral support with, or something you're stuck on, then jump in and we can direct you to the appropriate amazing resources, because there are so many resources. And as you said, it's simple for anyone to create whatever it is that they're wanting to create, because there is so much within the platform. And it's what I love about it so much, is that, you know, you can have it and you can create your own really professional looking website, your own really professional course, but easily, you know, as effortlessly as possible for you and as quickly as possible, which at the end of the day is what we want, because we want those courses finished, we want those new clients in, and we want the money at the end of it. You know, that's got to be a goal for some people. For others, I know it's the supporting and it's the serving, you know, of those clients, and it's the sharing your knowledge. But again, you know, the more people you get in, the quicker you get the courses completed, the better it is. Whichever way your mission is working, financial or the service, it works for both. So yeah, absolutely jump in to those Zen zones and let it support you with your goals, because that's what they're here for. You know, the Zen zones are there to support you. So come in. Sure.
Yeah. Jim's actually put in there, he's putting, accountability is key. So, you know, you can tell, like, it's really funny. Zenler is so funny in a way, because you do lots of these live sessions, and I know, Liz, you've not been with us for long, but you're doing more of these live sessions. But what you get is you get the instructors, they come in and they're everywhere. Someone like Jim, he goes in there and he's everywhere. He's in all the lives. He's on a day with Zenler. You're like, wow, he's really on a mission. And you get these people come in and they're on a mission, they achieve what they're doing, and then they drop out of the lives, and then sometimes they pop back in. So it's like seeing old friends. They kind of pop in and out, and it's quite funny. And then you've got people that just stick with us all the time. They're just in there all the time, and they're asking different questions because they're trying to polish things. So you've got all of these different energy levels. You can almost feel it behind the camera. It's so good. It's so funny to see it all happening, you know. And obviously you're trying to facilitate and help them as well. And you know, absolutely. Especially if you're doing it on your own, even like a Zen Zone session, if there gets to be a lot of people in there, it's quite a job for us to facilitate you all, for us to get you the information. So we do try to send you to videos if we've done them. And we have these Zen Zone sessions. They're, I think, pretty much daily, aren't they, Liz?
Yeah, yeah, every day at the moment.
So they're up there and they're in daily at the moment, as you, Liz said, that's the key word, at the moment.
Yeah.
So we're monitoring how things are going. We obviously don't want to run these sessions if nobody's coming in all the time. We'll have to scale it back because our Zenler instructors, we can be doing other things, you know. So that's our plan. We're rolling out lots of different things. So rather than on the YouTube channel, for instance, there's me everywhere. We're going to start having Liz on there. We're going to start having Alice, Mammy on there, Kevin on there, maybe Rakesh as well. And we're going to start to spruce it up a bit so it's not oversaturated with my face on the screen all the time.
And it's such a lovely face. We don't mind.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Don't get that. Yeah. So yeah, so it's really key. So again, another amazing session there by Liz. And do you know what? Sometimes we don't plan these things. I ask Alice if she wants to come on. I ask Liz if they want to come on, and they always say yes. And they come on, and the subjects are relatable to each other. I mean, it's like we're all connected. It's crazy.
We are. It's that new Zenler, that Zen energy.
Yeah, so motivation is key and moving forwards on that. So thank you very much, Liz, for doing that. I know your voice was going a little bit. It's quite hard work, isn't it? Like you're talking. And I know you're doing the Zen Zone sessions as well. And, you know, it's as Liz said, look after yourself. You know, you've got your family, you've got your hobbies, then you've got your work, but you look after yourself above everything else. Otherwise, you can't do anything. So it's like I've always got water here. We're starting to run some little pre-recorded bits into a David Zenler to give me a bit of a rest. Because as soon as you start hitting that hour, 2 hour mark, your throat starts doing. I remember the initial David Zenler, I decided that I could do 8 hours. And I did. But it killed me. It absolutely killed. Never again. Never. Not on my own. You know.
No, you definitely take support.
Gotta have. Well, we got the support now. You know,
Exactly.
we've got. It's great. We got three female, 3 male. We're all balanced and zenned out. So you know, we're zen zoning it. We're in the balance zone. We're doing well. Yeah. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you so much.
All right. See you later.
See you later.
Right, guys. So what we're going to look at now is we're going to look at forms and funnels. Now, Mummy covered it earlier. She was showing you how it was set up. So I'm going to go and do the same thing, but not exactly the same thing, obviously. But I'm going to be sort of analyzing and dissecting the funnels and the way that you can use them, because they are really versatile. And I think the key with forms and funnels, and I mentioned this to Mammy earlier, is understanding the mechanics of what actually happens. Because if you understand the mechanics of anything inside of Zenler, it becomes really easy for you to work outside the box with these things. I can give you an example of this. With a funnel series, you would normally assume that you would be creating funnel steps. But what about if you just didn't use any of those steps and you just decided to use the automation part or the mail part that sends out mails to people, instead of actually using it like a proper funnel, like you would consider a proper funnel? It's still a funnel, but we're just using the automations part of it. So what does this mean? This means that, for instance, if you have a form, you could actually tie them straight into a funnel and then automations could fly out to them. So I'm going to be taking you through that now. I've got some content that I'm going to be showing in a second, and that should hopefully inspire a few of you maybe to write some questions down. If we don't get any questions, I'm going to run into the last part, which is I want to show you 2 of our brand new features that have come out this month. And one is the bulk actions, which is absolutely amazing. And then the next one is the ebook that we have. So we have this new ebook flipping book series. So I'm going to be showing you that straight after the forms and funnels. So I'm going to be checking in the chat, and I'm going to be answering live in the chat as well. And at the very end, if there are any questions outstanding in there, I'm going to cover them. So we've got some exciting stuff to come here. So I'm going to run straight in with the forms and funnels. So I really hope you enjoyed this presentation. It is pre-recorded, but I am sitting here looking at the chat. So if you have a question, you can put it in there. How do I pre-record and put stuff into there? I'm going to be doing a whole workshop on how to do that. That whole workshop will be put into the Complete Guide to Zenler, and it will also go onto our YouTube channel, because it is going to be amazing for you guys to see some of the stuff that you can do with some free software. That's going to make your life a lot easier if you're running massive like days like this, for instance. It literally means that you can run a whole summit on your own with pre-recorded content, which is what you want. And I know that's come up in some of the questions. How can I do a pre-recorded and show it as a live? This would be the way that we're going to do it. So this actually tackles a lot of questions that have been asked over the last 6 months in the Facebook group as well. So these are all exciting things that are coming out. We have a lot more things coming out as well. Like, we're going to completely revamp the tutorial site. It's going to be a lot easier to navigate. You're going to be able to pick the courses that you want to show, rather than just get enrolled to the NZ Masterclass bundle. We're actually going to break it apart. This is just our extension of things going forwards, because we have a bigger team now and we need to manage things as efficiently as possible. So I'm going to run into forms and funnels now and stop babbling away. I hope you enjoy this, and I will see you straight after it. All right, so let's move on. So what I want to talk about now is funnels and forms. There's still a lot of confusion with funnels and forms and how they all connect up. So I want to sort of like just pull the curtain back on that and just make it a bit easier for you to maybe understand how and what the relationship is, especially with forms, because, right, forms can be just sent off to capture people's details, okay? So you can set up forms, but you can also set forms up so that, as well as capturing their details and obviously capturing them as leads, okay, you can also send them into a funnel, okay? So a funnel is like, might be a video series funnel. So you might want to give them, say, 3 days of videos. So then they land on day 1, then an email automation goes out to them, giving them a link on day 2 to day 2's video, etc. So that's how it works. So it might not be videos, it might be just a simple, you might want to give them a free PDF. You might not even want to use any of the funnel steps. You might just want to use the form to trigger an action that sends automations out to them, which you can also do with funnels. I call that a trigger funnel. Okay, so we don't use the steps, we just use the funnel's automations rather than the steps. So if I give you some real world examples, then it makes it easier for you to understand how it's all working. So this is especially for new users of Zenler that maybe haven't seen this part in the Complete Guide to Zenler. And all of this information is already there. Just need to look on our tutorials.newzenler.com site and go into our NZ Masterclass bundle. I'm going to show you now. So let's jump to my screen here. As you can see, this is a training series. This is a site that we've set up for our live Sunday mentorships that we're running at the moment. And we've called it a good doggy site. So within here, we ran through every kind of step in building this site. And the initial phase was to have it as a lead capture page. So we had it, so we had a form in there. We can capture leads before we created any of these training courses that we have down here. So this is a good way to bring them in. Of course, having someone fill a form out, and the good thing is that they're captured as leads, but there's no other communication between you and them. However, if you tie it into a funnel that is using the automations, you can send series of emails out. So there's lots of case studies for this. One is someone fills a form out, an email goes off to them saying, thank you, we will send you the latest news when we launch our site, or go here and you can get a special offer. So that's one case study, right? Case study two could be an email flies out to them saying, get 50% off this course, and then they sign up for the course through there. The other thing could be like on your form, could be like, I'm going to send you one email a day for 5 days on how to train your dog. And then you could use the automation to send one email out a day with different bits of information. So that's how it could be done. That roles engagement, generally the last day or the day before last, you build excitement as for them to take the course, because you're probably giving them something off of that course. You might even be inviting them to a live that you've got running, or any of these things. So it could be used in 1,000,001 different ways. And that's why here at Zenler, we cannot do a video for how all the combinations of things that you can do. So the other thing that you might want to do with forms is actually send them into a proper marketing funnel where you've got pages set up and automations run off of that as well. So let's have a look what we've done for the Good Doggy site, as this was a lead capture form. So I'm going to just go into the About Us page because it has it on it. And down here, it's got sign up for the dog training. But what happens here is people will put their name and their email address in, and it will send off an email. So I'm going to quickly fill this email out to sort of show you how it works. So I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put in John, and then I'm going to put an email address in here, and I'm going to click sign up for launch. Then we're going to check my emails, and then I'll show you how it's kind of configured. So we're going to go sign up for launch. So what I've done is after they hit the submit button, I've taken them to a thank you page. But what else has happened is it actually enrolled them in a funnel, and that funnel has got an automation in it that sends an email out to them. So let's have a look in our email now, and I can show you what has been sent when they've signed up. This is what we always do. We always test our site, make sure it's working as expected. We do not just launch a course or a site without fully testing everything. It's crucial. So I'm going to jump into my email now. And here we go. So this is the email that I've received now that I've set that up. So it says, Dear John, thank you for signing up for Good Doggy. We'll be in touch soon, Good Doggy team. So that is just a reach out to them. Okay, so let's have a look how this has been put together. And this is using what I call a trigger funnel. So let's minimize this down, and we're going to jump into the page. So I'm going to go to my pages, and I'm going to go down to our About Us page. And this is the first part of it, creating the form itself. So we're going to just check this out quickly. And once that loads, okay, here we go. So let's have a look at the form. So I've just got a standard form set up, and I will show you how to create a form like this. So this is just the name. You can see that the form is constrained inside this purple block. Okay, this is really important that all of the elements are inside this purple block. So inside here, if we click the gear icon, you can see over here on the settings that we have input type first name, and then we have the text in here, enter your name. Okay, that's fine. Let's have a look at the enter your email here. And you're going to notice with this one that I've made it required. So I haven't, but I should do. So I should make that required so that people have to enter an email address. It says enter your email address here, input type email. You'll notice under the input type that we have lots of different ones: first name, last name, address, city, state, zip code, phone, or a custom type. So as it's an email, this is the minimum we need. We need a name and we need an email for them to be registered on the system. I'm going to show you in a second. I'll jump to it now. If we go to the all, you're going to see that that person that just registered, John, has been added, and I'm added as a lead. You'll also see that I've been tagged with pre-launch. This is from the funnel part of it. So now the most important part, well, it's all important because you're capturing details, but this is where the fun happens. Let's click in here for the submit button. So this is the submit button for the form. We're going to go to the gear icon and we're going to go over to our settings, and you're going to see a lot of stuff going on in here. Notice tag pre-launch. Notice pre-launch. That's why they've been tagged. So you could use the same form. You could copy this whole block like this, save it, and then you could change the tag for different pages. So you could then find where they came into your site by tagging. But we've got another couple of things going on with this button as well. Not only do we have the tagging, but we also have them added to a funnel. That funnel is called form responder. Okay. And that form was the form that you saw in the email that was sent out to me. Let me just jump back to it quickly just to reconfirm it to you. There, this one. So this email was sent out from the form responder, and you're going to see that in a minute. I'm going to show you. So if you've got any funnels in here, you can select them, and that will cause an action. So it will enter them into the funnel straight away. Now, the last thing, do you remember when we clicked it, we then came to this page, thank you, we will notify you of launch. This is a post-submit action. So if you look here, this is post-submit. So post-submit, after you've submitted the button, what happens next? And you're going to see it says go to link. And then I post-submit link, I've put a link in there. So that link, let me just go to the pages. That link will take them to the thank you page. So I have a thank you page set up here. Here it is here. So I've just taken this URL. Let's just have a look at it. And that's the page that they go to after they've submitted the button there. Okay. So now you understand how that works. So if you didn't have a tag, if you didn't have added to a funnel, and you didn't have here, all it would say, it would still register them, but they would get no emails, they would not be tagged, and it would not go to another page at the end of it. So I've put the tag in there, I've added them to a form responder, and I've also done a post-submit link. And we're going to look next at the form responder. Now, one important thing about the button, if you've got a button in your form, it should always be action submit form. Otherwise, it will not fire a form off. You need to have that submit form. So I want to check out the form responder now. This is a funnel that I've set up. There's no steps in that funnel. I've deleted them out. All I'm using it for is the automations part of it. So it will be really clear in a second. So I'm just going to save that off. And we're going to jump into the funnels now. So here's the funnels. So you're going to see I've got one here. Form responder. I've got quite a few funnels set up for different things, but I've got this one, form responder. Let's click it. So let's have a look at our funnel steps. There's no steps. That's unusual. You know, normally you've got steps in a funnel. Yes, but I'm not using any of the steps. I don't want people to see things. It's not like one of these. Let me just go back to one of these ones here. It's not like this. Where I've actually got people going to a page. Look, let's have a look at it. So I've sent them to this page link. Let's have a look at that. I've deleted, so I've put day one video there, you know, down here. Then you've got another one, day 2 video. So it's not that at all. I've deleted the steps out. So I'm using it to trigger the automations. This way it's a trigger automation, really. You know, I call it a funnel trigger. So that's why I've done it like that. So let me just close that down. So let's have a look at what's happening in this form responder. Remember, the form responder was the funnel that I picked from here. Form responder. So what's happening in the form responder? Well, we've got no funnel steps, funnel details. Yeah, it's given me a link, but I'm not using that. I'm going to go into automations. Oh, I have an automation. So you can probably work out what's going to happen already. It says on subscribe, right? On subscribe, which is on sign up here, trigger this. So straight away. So remember that this part will send that email out. So let's have a look at that email again. There, dear John, thank you. Da, da, da. Okay. So let's now open this up and go and check this out. You also notice that I have an admin set up, so I get notified when someone actually submits a form. But let's have a look at this. This is to send mail. I haven't activated this one. I'm going to click edit on here, and you're going to see it's going to say dear, and then it's used the personalization. John, thank you for signing up for Good Doggy. We've been in touch soon. Good Doggy team. Exactly the same text that I had in here, because it is the same thing. The Good Doggy sign up from John there, and it says Good Doggy sign up from, again, personalization. Notice that personalization will fill in the name that they put inside the form once it's sent out. Form being here, name, email address. So that is how that works. So I'm just using it for the automation. Now I could easily go in here and set up or clone one of these steps like this. And I could say clone. And then here I could say, let's go from subscription, let's go 1 day. So 1 day after subscription, send this. I could have that. So what would happen now if I made this live? Let's make this action live. It's live, you can see. So what's going to happen on 0 days or 0 minutes, 0 seconds from subscription, send this out. And then 1 day from the subscription, send this one out. So I can set up a whole automation sequence. So like I said, if I was doing a 5-day email sequence, I would just come in, create here, put content for day 2. Yeah, save that. Then I would clone this and I would change this to day 2. Let's go to there. Put the 2nd day. Content for day 3, save it, make it live. And then I would have that. So now I've created a 3-day sequence. I've got an initial one, I've got a after 1 day from subscription, and then I've got 2 days from subscription. And that's how it works. So that is the essence of how you could set forms up, and you can actually send them into a funnel to send an automatic reply to someone. So let's have a look now quickly at what happens if I was to send them into a video series. So if I was to select here and I was to choose one of these, like a video series, you notice that you can check multiple as well. So I could send them into multiple funnels if I wanted to. I just selected this video series funnel and I'm going to click save. So what would happen now is they would submit this and they would be automatically entered into the video series funnel, which is this one here, video series workshop. If you try and name them well so that you know, video series for workshop. So it's a video series for workshop. So if they filled that form in, they would go into here and your automations would fire, and your first automation would probably send them to the first step of the funnel. You can see here, this is a link to the first step in the funnel, which is here. Okay, so it's this one. This is the opt-in. We've already got them to opt in, so we don't need to resend them to that page. So if you preview that page during the training, if I had a form in there, it would be an opt-in. So we send them to this one, and then you're going to see that in the next day, let's go to automations, it's going to send them to the next video. So there we go. And this is day 2 content. So this is sending them to day 2, which is this one here, this link here, which you copy. And then the next one that goes out is the last one in the series, and it's this one. So it would send them to this page. And then I normally on the last page of the funnel, you would have like an incentive. In this case, I've got 50% off the membership for the first month. And then they click that and they go through to here, they enroll in the course, and they see that they have £50 for the first month and then £50 after. So it's the first billing. I've got 2 billings up there, but you can see how it works. So that is funnels. That is how it works. So there has been confusion on this before. So what we looked at there was kind of a trigger funnel. So we're using a funnel just for the automations. And of course, we can set up full video funnels, lead magnet funnels. You can add extra steps. I've done lots of training on funnels. So if you want any resources on that, check out our tutorial site and go into the live workshops that we've got on our page. I'll just jump in there now so you can see it. And let me go into tutorials. So if you go into tutorials, you're going to find in the Zenler extras area, we have this live workshop replays, and you're going to find a ton of information on funnels there in these 2 videos. All right. So you want to do that, tutorials.newzenler.com. Make sure you're part of the NZ Masterclass bundle. Jump into Zenler extras here, jump down to the live workshops. And then once you're in here, you can just view these. And they're quite long. They're about 2 hours each. I think they do cover everything on funnels, and it should clear any confusion you have about using funnels. And especially, like just showed you there, how to use funnels to trigger automations, which could be really beneficial to you. All right, so that's our little bit on funnels. Hi guys, so hopefully that was helpful to you. I can see Sunita's says her sister does all the sales funnels for her, so that saves her a lot of trouble there. I know Sunita knows about this stuff as well, so yeah, it can be quite complicated to sort of understand. But if you put it together, that you can do a lot more with funnels than just drive like a video series or a lead magnet. You can use it as a way of automating, and you can also use it as a place where you can send people to other places. So if people opt in, you can then send them a link to another site, or you can send them to the funnel step itself. And inside that funnel step could be additional buttons that link to different things. So it's got a massive array of uses for actually forms and funnels. And I think it's very much underutilized by people because it's a very powerful thing to use. We'll be extending on this as well. I know the question has already come up this morning's session about the ebook and whether we can actually put the flipping ebook, the flip ebook, not flipping ebook, the flip ebook into funnels. And that is something that Rakesh has mentioned is going to come in to it at some point. And I think the whole thing that Zenler is thinking is with funnels is there's more integration of these things across. I know people have mentioned checkout pages and things like that. And I know again that Rakesh has mentioned about actually having selling products on the site as well. So these are all future plans that we've got for Zenler, and we're just driving forwards, obviously just knocking the competition away, but adding features that no other platform have got to date. And including one of those is the ebook feature. So before I jump into the ebook feature, we produced a series of new feature videos, and 2 of which I'm going to show you in a second. One was the bulk actions. Now, bulk actions, again, is very, very powerful. If you've just come into the platform, maybe you're new to this, before you never had these bulk actions. So bulk actions allow you to do things like actually blanket, remove people from courses, actually blanket, include them in courses, and a lot of other functionalities as well. We can select everybody in the database and we can drop them wherever we like. Very, very powerful. So yeah, so Anita's replying to Sunita saying, yeah, you worn your way out of it. She's talking about funnels. She passed it to her sister. The Crimson Cats are in the house. All right, so I'm going to just show you the new features, 2 new features. We're going to start with the bulk actions that we have, because they are, like me and Kevin are really impressed with bulk actions, because we can see that there's so many things that you can do with this. And I'm going to show you the new feature video that we produced for the bulk action. So enjoy this. Any questions, again, put them in the chat and we'll answer them. And straight after this, we're going to move into the new ebook, which was released very, very recently. So let's move into the new feature, bulk actions. I will see you in a minute. Welcome to a new feature release by us at Zenler. So now we have bulk actions. So bulk actions to manage users in bulk in courses, funnels, or live classes, webinars. So earlier, it was a big pain to manage a number of users in one go. There was no way to bulk unenroll students from courses, no way to unsubscribe leads in bulk from funnels. There was no way to unregister users in bulk from live classes, live webinars, and no way to bulk delete, remove tags. So now we have addressed this really big pain point for you. So I'm going to go through some of the features that you can do with this now. So you can bulk unenroll students in courses. You can bulk enroll students from courses. So you can bulk subscribe leads to a funnel, bulk unsubscribe leads from a funnel. You can bulk register students to live classes, bulk unregister students from live classes, bulk register students from live webinars, and bulk unregistered student from live webinars, bulk add tags, and bulk remove tags. So this is a major release from us. It allows you a real easy way of managing your students. One big point I'd like to mention to you is when you bulk unenroll subscribed users from a course, it will not take away their subscription plan. Okay, this is really important to know. So it does for Stripe, but it does not for PayPal and Razorpay. So it'll be up to you to contact students and tell them to actually cancel that if they've got payment plans or they've got subscriptions. This is really important for you to understand, because obviously that's an important aspect. But other than that, you can now use these bulk actions freely within Zenler itself. So I'm going to jump into the platform now, and I'm just going to quickly show you a few of the bulk unenroll actions that you can do with Zenler. Okay, so you can see in this course here, I have 30 enrollments in this course. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bulk unenroll all 30 of them from this course. So we're going to go into here, and the first thing I'm going to do is filter. So we're going to go into advanced filtering, and I'm going to filter for that course. So this is the course that I'm going for. So I'm going to go enroll in course, and I'm going to go and select my course. So I'm going to scroll down here until I find the YouTube challenge. Now I've found it, I'm going to apply the filter. It will give me 30 results as I've got 30 people in that course. Okay, so now you can see it's page 1, page 2. Now we have a really good feature going on here. Once we select these like this, you're going to see that you have a new feature that's come up here that allows you to select all 30 users, even if they're on another page. So this is another little plus point we've added into the bulk unenroll. So if I clicked select all 30 users, what you're going to get now is they will be selected on the other pages as well. So you can see that that selection is really handy there. So now I'm going to bulk unenroll them from a course. So let's go to bulk actions. Let's go unenroll from a course, and let's go and select the course that these users are in. As we know, they are in this YouTube challenge down here, and we're just going to simply click unenroll. And it's going to say, do you sure you want to unenroll these users from the course? Students will lose access to the course. We're going to click yes. And now what's going to happen is we have now unsubscribed the users, or unenrolled the users from the course. If I refresh this page now, you're going to see that this becomes 0 in here. As it refreshes, you will see it. And there you go, 0 users. So we've taken them away from that course. Now, as I said before, be careful if you've got a subscription running or you've got a payment plan, they will lose access to that, but the payment plan will still carry on. The only exception is Stripe, where any subscriptions will be cancelled, okay? So it's important to know. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select a random number. Let's just select these ones here. There's 15 in there. And let's just go to the next page here and select these ones here. And let's go to another page and select these here. Now I'm going to enroll them in the course. So selected all this, I'm going to go to bulk actions. We're going to go enroll in course. I'm going to go and select the course that I want to enroll them in. And we're going to go to there, and I'm going to click enroll. And you're going to proceed. Contacts in your selection list will not have a student role. A student role will be added. So we're going to click this and it'll add a student role if they are leads, okay? So there we go. Let's add the student to the beginning there. And now if we go into here and we refresh, you're going to see that our students have been added back to the Zenler YouTube channel. As you can see, 45 have been added. So we have a lot of actions. They all work in the same way. You can use the filtering here to filter out. Of course, if you select here and you select all, it will actually select all the people in your site. If I go through, you're going to see they're all selected now beautifully. And we can apply all these actions. So you can do the enroll, unenroll, subscribe to a funnel, unsubscribe to a funnel, register in a live, unregister from a live, register in a live interactive webinar, unregister, and register in live, unregister, add tags and remove tags. So I can add a tag to all of these if I wanted to. I'm going to do it to every single one. I'm going to, first of all, remove this tag in here. And we're going to go in here and I'm going to do test 1 just to add a tag, just to show you how the tag feature can work, which is really handy. Let's go add. And now you're going to see that all of my users now have got this new tag in here. And of course, you can remove all the tags as well if you want to. So you can go in through here, select all the users, go to bulk action. Again, they're all working exactly the same way. We're going to remove the tags. So I'm going to go through here. We're going to remove all these tags. Let's just remove that test one that I just created down here. Let's do test 1. Let's remove this tag, remove. And now that test 1 will be removed from all the students. So it's really easy, intuitive to work with. Again, filters work inside here as well. And you've got this new button where you can select all the users and of course, all these bulk actions that you can now apply. So really easy, really intuitive to work with. You know, we at Zenler like to make things really easy for you guys to work with your students and manage the subscriptions. And of course, now bulk actions add to that. So this is a new feature released by us at Zenler. So there we have bulk actions. So really, really cool feature. Allows you to really manipulate your students within in your course, in your site in general, especially working with a membership site, you need to move people around. It's a really, really good feature. I'm not going to move on. We're not going to use bulk actions, but I'm going to show you how you can sort of export users and you bring them straight into an email list. It is a question that's come up. We're also going to look at Canva as well, depending on time. We've got about half an hour left now. Again, you know, guys, I'm just with these two subjects, you know, I can shuffle them around. If you want me to focus my attention on something else, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. I'm here for you today. We do these presentations and things, but the whole point of the day with Zenler is to help and answer questions. So if you've got any questions, put them in the chat. So let's jump on to our brand new feature, and this is ebooks. So we have this amazing ability to be able to create flipping books or flip books. Okay, so I'm going to be extending on that after you've seen our new feature release on this. I'm going to be showing you how you can create a PDF inside of something like Canva that you can upload to your course as the new ebook lesson type. So let's just show you the feature before we move on to showing you how it can work in practice. Welcome to a new feature release by us at Zenler. So now we have ebook lessons. Yep, transform your PDFs into stunning ebooks right within your lesson. So this is a great new feature for you guys that have got PDFs and want to convert them into an interactive flip book style ebook. So we're super excited to announce we've just added this brand new lesson type, ebooks. So just upload your PDF to Zenler and it will magically be transformed into a beautiful ebook that works just like a book virtually. So New Zenler is the first ever platform to build, pretty complex actually what's being involved, conversion engine from ground up that converts PDFs into beautiful ebooks, complete with page turn animation, sound, and the ability to zoom in without losing clarity. So this is a pretty big feature really that we've introduced. It might seem pretty simple to you guys, but we've got full effects going on within it to give you a virtual book experience. So for your students, this could be a really nice addition, as well as we already have PDFs, and of course you can download as well, but having this ebook ability of being able to flip interactively with pages will be really good. And also the ability to zoom in and out as well. So with the new ebook lesson type, you can add ebook lessons, upload your PDFs, convert your PDFs into stunning ebooks. This is done all automatically. Set the background image color for the ebook in the course player. We're going to look at all this stuff in a minute. So page turn animation and sound, just like a real book. We have slide thumbnail pane. We have a search functionality within the ebook itself, which is really cool feature that we've added. HD quality zoom functions without losing quality, and it's responsive on mobile, pinch and zoom as well. So this is a really cool way. Just imagine you could use this lesson type within some of your Zoom lessons as well, so some of your live sessions. So a multiple of uses could be used for this particular bit. You could also, like thinking outside the box here, you could actually start to flip it and then take a screen grab of it and then actually put that into your course pages and things like that. So there's a lot more uses to it than just would be initially creating the ebook. So we're super excited. I'm going to actually just show you the feature now inside of our staging server, which is going to come across straight to the platform. So you should be able to get it when you see this video. So just jump into your site and play around with uploading an ebook or a PDF and turning it straight into an ebook. So let's have a look at it now. We're going to jump straight into the site and view it. So here I am inside the site. So we have a new section here, and I'm going to add the new lesson type. So we're going to click Add Lesson, and straight in here, I'm just going to put a title for this. We're going to call this eBook Lesson. Okay, and now this is the important bit. I'm going to save that, and you're going to see that on the right-hand side here, we have this ebook lesson type. So we're going to just drop that in a second. I'm just going to click the ebook. Now we're just going to find it. Now, if you've already got them in the PDF library, you can click here and you can just select it. But we're going to upload a brand new one because it's a brand new feature. So I'm going to go into downloads. I've got a little new released ebook here, and I'm just going to upload that. And that's going to drop into here in a second. And there it is there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to preview, you're going to see how it looks. Now, it takes a little bit of time for it to actually process, but I'm going to jump into the curriculum now for this course, and you're going to see it inside here. So let's jump in and let's have a look at our ebook. Here it is here. So if you get a little bit coming up at the beginning, it's fairly quick, but it should process this really quickly. This is a very small book. So here we go. We have it here. So now you can start to turn these pages interactively. Do you notice how I can click with my left mouse button? I can drag that page across. And it's also doing this sound effect. I don't know if you can pick it up, but it's doing a page turn sound effect as well. So I can actually just go through these and I can skip back and forward. So imagine like you can just grab, maybe grab from the corner here. Let's just pull it up from the corner and from here and just pull it across. You can see it's like going with the flow to give you that real interactive feel about it. So let's zoom in as well. You can see I can zoom into this ebook and I can zoom out to give me that experience of really seeing close in if it's a very detailed ebook. So the other thing about this is we have thumbnails down here. So you can click and you can just go straight to those pages. So if it's a lot of pages in here, you can just flick to these and you're going to see it's going to resolve to high quality at the end. You can also got these little arrows at the side to move through. So if I close the thumbnails down, you can see I can click through here and it will take me back through or forwards through the pages of my site. Now, something else to bear in mind is this background here, which is this gray color. It's very neutral, but we have the ability to be able to change that color as well. So if I jump back in here, you can see there's a little gear icon. We click that gear icon, we can actually set a background color. So you can make this with your branding. So let's change this to a dark color there and just click update. And I'm just going to refresh this page now. And you're going to see this is now going to go to this lovely black color that we've set inside there. So now we're going to have this lovely black color going around the outside like so. So you can put that in there, but not only that, you can also put a background image. So if we go in here and we select a background image, we can choose one from the library or we can upload one ourselves. So as I've got a background image already loaded up for this, I'm just going to jump into our Zen Zone backgrounds and I'm just going to click this little background here. And this is going to go in. I'm going to click update here. And once again, I'm going to jump back in here and I'm going to hit the refresh button. And now that's going to give me that image in the background there. Like so. So now I've got that image in there and I've got this book that I can change on top of. Now I probably use a different background for that, but just to give you an idea of how it's working for that. So we also have search functionality up here. So you're able to add your own search results into here. So if you type in here, then anything in that book that contains that, then that will pop up. So if I put in here something like ebook and just wait for that to refresh, just going to click enter and it will give you results based on that. So you can see the results it's given you, page 4, page 5, and it's given me those results in there under search. So this is a really handy feature, this search. So if you've got quite a big ebook, you can quickly search for where those terms are within the pages. So this is the new ebook feature. We were super excited to announce this to you. As you know, Zenler just keeps on giving all the time. We are really, really on it with new updates. And this feature is the only platform that currently does ebooks. That tells you that we, again, are the only platform doing this type of stuff for you. So that is ebooks. Enjoy it. We love it. We think it works really well. It's really quick. It's really responsive, and it should fulfill all your needs for ebook creation on Zenler. So that is ebooks for you. So I'm going to take this a little stage further and I'm actually going to build a little PDF inside a Canva, and then I'm going to export that out and I'm going to take it into a course and we're going to upload it as an ebook. And we can look at some things. So there's some questions coming. Sunita's brain is racing with the ideas that she could use for this. I was just saying that as you turn the page, you could do something like a screen grab, and then you could use that as a piece of graphics to use in your site. So it could be used for that. So you haven't got to do anything in a 3D software or anything. You could just do a screen grab of the page as you're turning it and get that kind of ebook feel. So it could be used for that. There's so many different options. Jim's on there. He's just a collection of PDF bound together, or do we need an account for the size page images, or does it automatically resize? So Jim, it automatically resizes. So generally ebooks would be done like, maybe if it's an ebook, it would be done in like an A4 format, either portrait or landscape. In this particular case, I'm going to do it HD. So I'm going to do it at 1920 by 1080. But the size you set it, do make sure that it is a nice big size for it to come across nicely inside of there. But it will resize to whatever documents you've got from PDF, bring in there. Now, there is one thing to bear in mind when you're producing these ebooks. They are static. So if you've got any PDFs produced that's got any animation or graphics going on, that might cause conflict with the converter to the actual ebook. Okay, so the same might be applied for some of the links and things like that in an ebook. So be careful of that. If you find these errors happening, just simplify it all back and just get it to be a nice flip book. Of course, if you want people to be able to download it, you've always got the option of adding the download underneath the lesson for them to download it. So you could do it that way. So I know that was a question that was asked as well about downloadable. And remember, it does the conversion process. So we at Zenler are really good at making this code to do conversions like HTML to PowerPoint presentations to documents and these kind of conversions. And we've done exactly the same for this with the flipbook. So it does do a conversion. It is no longer a PDF as such. It's just a way of visually showing people and locking that content to your site, which I know a lot of you want, okay? If you want them to download it, just set it up as a download and they can download it. Absolutely fine. So I'm going to jump into a screen share now, and we're going to jump across to the famous Good Doggy site, and I'm going to jump across to a Canva account. So I just got a Canva account in here. You can see some stuff going on, but I'm going to create a design. So I'm going to choose for this custom design here. I'm going to choose my standard width that I normally put in for most things. If you follow my videos, you'll know this number very well, 1920 by 1080. So this is high HD. So I'm going to create a new design with this. And now I've got this design in here, I can start adding my elements and I can start building my PDF. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to doggy base this. So I'm going to put dog into Canva, and it's going to give me lots of nice little pictures. So I got some cool stuff going on already. I think I'm going to drag this one across. I like this. So that's one I'm going to add just for, and I'm going to, and I think I've duplicated this out so I could change the color or something for this. Let me just change that and create a new one underneath here. We've put a color in there. So I'm going to change this to something like that. And let's add an element. So I'm just playing around. This is basically just to show you what's going on. So I'm going to drag this one in here. I'm going to use the Alt key while I'm dragging, and that will then cut this pit back, and I'm going to put it in the corner. So I'm just going to create a nice little graphic to go on here. That looks good. Let's move him off a little bit. Okay, looks nice. Our little doggy there. And we're going to go in and grab just a document in here. Let me just grab something like this. Okay, I'm just going to ungroup it because it's part of the same group. So let me just click this. But join the club. I'm going to select all of this text and bring it all right down. So it's huge at the moment, probably need it about 150. So I'm going to change the color of that to something like a white. Okay, that looks good. Might add an effect to this as well. So let's put a shadow in here. Just change that to something like that. Okay, that's good. So something like that you've got going on. And then maybe in here, put some text. You know, something like that. So I've got 2 slides. So I've created, so you can create whatever content you like inside Canva. I'm not going to spend too much time and just, you know, go through everything you can do in Canva, but you can really play around with this. But I've created two pages, and it's a little bit close there. And you could just go and base this on here. So you could change this text or this image over, and we've created PDF. So I'm just going to have a look at the chat again, just to make sure if there's any questions. So I've got cute doggy pics, David, paws, fur bag, dog. Yeah, I've not seen animations in an ebook yet. So there's not. So once I've done this and I've created my pages, and these are pages, this is how the book will be built. This will be page 1. Normally it would be assumed that it was the cover page, and then page 2 would be etc, etc. And the name of it would be whatever you've called the file. So if I go back to here, if I go back to my ebook account, my Canva account, you're going to see that my recent design is down there, and it's just named it the text that I put in there. So let's export this out. Now, remember, you can export from Canva in quite a few different formats. You know, I could export these out as individual images. I could export them out as PNG files, JPEG files, and PDF files. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to jump in and we're going to share this as a PDF. So I'm going to go up to the share. I'm going to go down to download. And then from this file type option, I'm going to pick the PDF standard. So there we go there. And you're going to see that you can select the pages. So if you leave it by default, it will select all the pages. But you can select one page. So if you wanted to do, say, 2 different PDFs and you've got them in the same document, you could first export this one out, then come to this setting again and just export this one out. So then you would get 2 documents. As I've got them both checked, it's actually going to compile them together as one PDF document. So this is what it's done. PDF standard, got my pages, and I'm going to click done. So once you click done, you just need to click download. And what you're going to find is that it will download in down here, and it should go into your, there it is, and it should go into your downloads folder. So if I just show my folder here, I've got it there. There it is. Let me just pull that across. Okay, so you can see there it is. So if I open this up now as a PDF file, it's opening up on my other monitor, bringing it across here. You can see I've got this and I've got that other page that we just created from scratch. So that's my PDF. Let's convert this into an ebook now. So I've got it in my downloads folder, and the name of the file is Join the Club. So let's jump into a course that I've got set up. So I've got a course and I'm in the course curriculum now, and I've just set up a lesson type as ebook. So I'm going to jump into the ebook section here, and I'm going to go and locate that file. Just as a little tip, I just showed you in the new feature video, but if you've already got one uploaded, you can go to the PDF library. So I'm going to click in here. I'm going to go straight to my downloads folder. I'm going to click join the club. I'm going to click open. And once that's loaded, it's 6.5 megabytes. It's fairly big for a small file, but I just chose those images in there. That will now be loaded in there. So it sometimes, like the videos, it can take a little bit of time to process. It depends how many people are having their PDFs processed at the same time, right? We are getting more channels for processors to process more PDFs, but we're finding out, we're building that up as you guys are using this feature. So let me go straight into the course curriculum, and let's jump in and see our ebook. So there's our little ebook there. Going to click that, and it will show a black page, and it will just basically process. So it's spinning through, processing those pages, and now we have a ebook. And if I do this, I can change. Now I've only got 2 pages, so it's giving me a back and a forwards here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do this again. I'm going to add a few other pages to this, just so that you can see the full effect. So let me go and click in here. I'm just going to duplicate this out. So really quickly, guys, I'm just going to come in here and just change the background color to something else. And let's throw a few pages out on this. So it's all the same, but different colors. So there you go. Now I've got 5 pages. So that's a little bit better. Right, let's go and share that again. I'm going to go to download. I'm going to go straight into PDF. I'm going to make sure that I've selected all of the pages. I'm going to click done, and I'm going to click the download. So let's jump back into the site now. So you can see how quick you can start to do this stuff. I'm now deleting out that first one. I'm going to add a new ebook in there. It's already downloaded. I can see it there. And I'm going to click in drop file in there. There it is there. By the way, guys, I don't like to use brackets and things in PDFs. I like to keep it really clean. So I'm just going to go join the blog club, just so it's different. .pdf. I'm going to select that and I'm going to click open. Okay, so it's processing it again. And we should just be able to refresh that page, the curriculum page, and it should update. So there it is there. So I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to hit the refresh. And now we should have 5 pages. So you see how quick you can process these pages and then go back in and just make amends inside there. So you can see we've got 5 pages now. So if we start clicking, now we're getting this real effect of all these pages. By the way, you know, we can also go and grab the corners here. And if you grab the corner, oh, it's changed slightly. On a bigger one, on a more portrait, you can grab the corner and it kind of flicks up in the corner. It's not doing it on this one, but it did it in the video. So you can flip through those. And it gives you a clicking sound as well. So as you do it, it does a little clicking side thing. So Jim's asked a question, a little unrelated, but how do you get the preview in your file explorer? Is that a Windows feature? Preview. Oh, never mind, you found it. I'm not sure what you meant there, but anyway. Right, so another feature down here, we looked at this, is you can throw up the thumbnails. So you can flick to these pages. This can be really good if you've got big documents. And we have this amazing search feature as well. So if I put inside the search, and I know there was a little glitch with this, but I think the support have fixed that now. So if I put help, anytime you've got now, right, okay, pay attention to this. This is live text you've got here. Need help, because I put it in there from Canva. If it was an image and had text in it, it wouldn't be able to find that information. All right. So you can see I've hit help and then I've put enter and all the pages have come up, page 4 and 5, page 4 and 5. So it tells you where that text is in there. So it's a really handy feature. But if the text is actually embedded into an image, or the image is part of the text is part of the image, it won't be able to reference it. It can only reference live text. When I mean live text, I mean in Canva, this is live text. You know, I can go in here and I can edit the text. If it's actually part of the image, it won't be able to index it. Okay, this is important to understand. You'll also notice that within this, you can zoom in as well. So you don't lose that quality even when you zoom in. Now, of course, if you zoomed too far in and it was a low resolution image, then it wouldn't have good quality. But you should make sure that your images are really good quality. Stick to that 1920 by 1080, or just use A4 portrait or landscape, and you should be pretty much well on track then. So this is that feature. This is how you can put it together in Canva and then put it across straight to there. So, right, so I'm going to just go back to this now and see if there's any questions. It's now 5:52 and we're coming up to the end. So Jim's I got it in your downloads folder. You have set in view to see a preview of the file selected in your downloads folder. Oh, right, in Canva, you mean? I don't know. It's just always had that. It's always had that ability. I've not changed anything in Canva. I see you meant the actual Canva part itself. So you meant here, didn't you? Oh, it's just always done that for me. So I'm pretty sure there's probably a setting in there to change it. But that's how mine's set up. I'm not you know, don't get me wrong, I'm no expert on Canva. It's so easy to use. I mean, anyone can get to speed with Canva. I use Illustrator and Photoshop. I don't use this for my work at all. I'm just using this because this is what you guys are using, and it's a really nice, easy way to do things. So I'm no expert on Canva, but I do, you know, it's so easy to work with. It makes it a dream to work with, not like something like Photoshop or Illustrator that requires quite a lot more work to understand and learn. Right, so Jim's all right anyway. If you're stuck, just message me, Jim. Yeah, so there we go. That is how we can do it, how we can actually produce a PDF, how we can put that PDF straight in there, how if we mess it up, we can just change our PDF and we can just delete it out and re-upload. And you saw how quick that was. You know, I'm streaming and I've got it on here. So I'm using quite a lot of the internet speed and it's still lightning quick. I love it. I absolutely love this feature. I think it's amazing. Right, so just before I go, because it's 54, I want to show you quickly, because we are in the mind-bending session for the end of session 2 at David Zenler. I want to show you how to export people out, how to get them into an email list. This is quite a common question that we've had before, and it all relates to manipulating your students inside your site. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. It's really dead simple to do, and it might help a few of you out just as a last feature at the end of this day with Zenler. So let's go in, and I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to jump in. So let's go into our site and let's go to our leads. So I've got a lot of leads, and you can see I've got my leads in here. These are, it doesn't matter, these names are all test users, so I can show them. But I want to get these leads into an email list. Now, if you look at my email broadcast, I have email lists up here, and I have 2, but I don't have any members in there. Now, I want to get my leads and put them in the list. I only want people that haven't got a tag to go in there, right? So I'm going to be filtering, exporting, and bringing in. So let me go to our site again, and we're going to go down to our leads, and you're going to see that some of them have got tags, look, here and here. I want to filter these ones out of this list so that I can export them out. So I'm going to use advanced filterings here. So I'm going to add a filter, and I'm going to go select. I'm going to say user tag does not contain, and then I'm going to choose pre-launch. These are all my tags that I've got in my site. So I'm going to go 1-to-1. I'm going to go pre-launch, and I'm going to go the toilet funnel, which makes people laugh because it's part of my dog toilet training course. So and I made a funnel, toilet funnel. So let's click apply filter. And what will happen is the user tag does not contain. So if it's not in there, it won't appear. So if I click apply filter, you'll see that now it's disappeared. So they are no longer inside here. You see, they haven't got there because I've filtered them out. So what I want to do now is I want to export out my users. So if I click here, I'm going to go and I'm going to click select all 31 users. All right. And I'm going to go and I'm going to export them out. Now, bulk actions, I could use the bulk actions, but we don't have a bulk action in here to enroll them into an email list. So I've got to use another equally as easy way of doing it. And I'm going to just export this out as a CSV file. So I've got 31 users. I'm going to click, I've selected them because I've clicked here. I'm going to click export. Remember, the people that are tagged are not going to go in the list because we filtered them up here. So let's click export. This will export a file here into my downloads folder. You can see it here. And I'm going to jump straight into the broadcasts, and I'm going to go into my email list. I'm going to go into the email list I want to put those students into. I'm going to click that. And over here, I'm going to go import contacts, and I'm going to click this, and I'm going to choose that file that's gone into my downloads folder. There it is there. And I'm going to click open, and I'm going to click next. And it's going to map the fields. These all look correct to me. I'm going to import them as a lead. I'm going to leave them. You can add a tag now if you wanted to. So if you wanted to tag them, you could at this stage. I'm not going to. And then I'm going to click finish. And it's going to say import in progress. And I'm going to click OK. And bang, we're in there. So we've now got our users have gone into our email list. So they haven't moved. They're still in here. But these ones haven't gone into the email list, but all the rest of the ones that I exported out have gone into that email list. So this makes it easy for you to manipulate them later. So if I come into that, I can then go in and say I was sending an email broadcast. I could come into an email broadcast. I could go into the edit. This is a template site that I've set up for a template email that I've set up that I'm going to be doing a workshop on at some point. So, but that's beside the point. So I've selected all contacts. So if I just want to email that email list, I go advanced filters. I go to advanced filter group. Inside here, I'm going to choose add a filter, and I'm going to go and choose the email list. So I have that. I'm pretty sure I've got an email list in here. There's so many things. Oh, maybe I haven't. Not in list. Okay. So not in list. Okay, so it should be in list. Or maybe we haven't got this feature in here. Should have checked. That's not very good. Okay. So, all right. So what I should have done was I should have exported them out and brought them back in. So I'm just going to jump back into that list again. Sorry, these things happen, but it's so easy to sort these problems out, because this time I'm going to come into this list and I'm going to import the same lot of users. Now, this is not going to create duplicates. This is just going to update the content. So again, I'm going to choose that same list. There we go. And this time when I bring them in, I'm going to tag them, so I know that they are new leads, and then put list or something. And now I'm going to hit enter, and now they will be tagged. So I'm going to click finish, and we're going to click back there. And now I will have them tagged. Now I can see the tags when I go into site and I go to leads. And now you're going to have a great big list of all the users added. So now it makes it really easy, and I know I'm on track. I can jump into the email broadcasts, jump into edit, and now I can filter only those people. So once again, I'm going to add the filter, and I'm going to say user tag contains, and I'm going to go and choose that list, new lead list, and I'm going to click save changes. And now I've only got the people that are on that list. So I thought I could filter it in list on the filters. I will talk to Rakesh about that, but because it would be a handy thing to have in there. But it doesn't matter. I export them out, bring them back in, tag them, and I can just filter them that way. That's how flexible the system is. Now, of course, I'm doing that, and I can think of workarounds whilst I'm working. But the thing is because I understand the system, because I've been using it a long time, that I can work out these changes. And if you start to use things like filtering, and you start to use tagging, exporting out, bringing people in, then you'll be able to work your own solutions out as well. I promise you, it won't take you that long to learn this stuff. It's pretty easy when you start breaking it all down. So that kind of brings us to the end of this. A great day today. Lovely. I tried a new thing with OBS. It was very successful. And we had a lot going on. We had Jackie talking about symposium earlier today. We had Mami on there talking about funnels. Of course, we had Alice on there talking all stuff, social media and goal setting. And also Liz followed on from that by smart goal setting as well. So, and of course, we had this new session as well, a mind-bending session. Give us a thumb up if you like the mind-bending sessions as well, guys. If you're on replay, put hashtag replay. And that brings us to the end of this Day with Zenler. Remember, Day with Zenler runs the last Friday of every month, okay? And I'll try and get it in there a bit earlier with what's going on for that, so you can be planned for it. The whole point, again, of a day with Zenler is to answer your questions. So guys, when I do post up the event, just put your questions in there, or come on live preferably, and just type in the chat, and then I can actually show you whilst I'm doing stuff. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's been a really nice session with everybody today, and it's really nice now to be backed up by so many educational support. So have a great weekend, guys, and I will see you all very soon.